So where we left off, after killing the snow sharks that ambushed the party, you guys began trekking up the mountain that the Yogg call Seartop, through the ice and snow of the unnatural winter. Let me go ahead and preload that now that Fox is in here. There we go. Caused by the white frost that feeds the ancient dragon that's recently taken up residence on the mountain here. You cleverly forded a river and then marched along an icy mountain spine, and then camped at the base of a sheer cliff. In the morning, Arteme used her nature magic to turn everybody into wind form, and you were able to float up over the cliff and then meet at a precise copse of trees that Norak had instructed you to find. Once there, everyone reverted to their humanoid shapes so that you could further discuss your plan for reaching the burial grounds near the peak of Seartop. And that I'll go ahead and give you guys the date again. Although I guess you guys can now see it on the calendar, so it's not quite as necessary. But it is Wine Day the 3rd. It's about 9 a.m. And
I'm pretty sure a bunch of us have exhaustion, except for me, because I was smart and closed my eyes and napped on the back of an animal.
Exactly. Your bravery kept you from getting too much exhaustion. But actually, it's not as bad as it was, because you guys did just get a rest.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so right now, Norak has 1 level, and everybody else is clear, except for Shok, who has 2 levels of exhaustion. And 2, I believe, is when speed is halved. No, 3 is when speed is halved. So keep that. No, it is 2. Yeah, never mind. All right, so right now, even just walking Shok would be limited. And then, of course, the problems get tacked on pretty rapidly after that if you go much further. But that said, I actually had a track I have to play here, too. So I didn't put all the music in the right place for this one here. Where did I put it? There it is. Is that the right one? Yep, that's right. Cool. All right, so that's where we left off. Everybody is gathered together, rehumanoided, no longer in wind form. But that said, the wind forms provided no protection from the unnatural chill here, and though you have successfully gathered at this destination that Norak had described for you, you are each already shivering uncontrollably. You have a small amount of wind protection from the trees that you're standing in, but that's it. So everybody go ahead and give me, to get us started here, everybody give me a check for extreme cold. The DC is a 24. That's a con save.
I don't think it's possible for me to get 24.
Well, natural. So you can still, with natural 20s, you'll automatically succeed there. But yeah, it's gonna be, this ramps up very rapidly. That's what I was telling you guys. It was a 16 yesterday. It's a 20 today. It's a 24 the next day, and then it keeps going up that way.
I did have advantage on that, right? Since I'm used to this climate, or what is that?
Yep. Yeah, you do for cold climates. Yeah.
All right.
Almost. Giuseppe was so close.
24?
No bonus for the skin flaps on my face.
Oh,
you got no. It's 20 today.
Oh, 20. I thought you said 24.
Oh, sorry. Tomorrow is 24. No, Dave, sorry. I probably did say that because I was looking at the list of the days. It's 20 today. This day is 20. So Nazim is good. And I think that's it. Everybody else has a point of exhaustion. Not a great way to start the day because you've literally just fucking rested, everybody. So 1 point for everybody except for Nazim. Nazim is still good. In fact, actually, Nazim had... Wait, did you have 2 yesterday? The day before Nazim, or was it just 1?
I had 1 the day before, but
okay.
Everybody laughed at me about those that skin flaps on my cheeks. I bet they're not laughing now.
Yeah, that's apparently enough to keep you warm with the snow shark skin, which, by the way, would be extremely uncomfortable. It'd be very sandpapery at best. So
wait, did we take this after we got out of the form, or when we were in cloud form?
When you are, so the wind doesn't protect you in any way. You're just wind. So you're still. I'm not you're not naked. I'm not saying that you don't have the clothing that you were wearing, but the clothing you were wearing is all the protection you have, and then you're flying through the wind.
Got it.
So essentially, it's not any worse or better. It's just that you're not wrapped up inside of woolly mammoth fur. Essentially, while you're doing it. Or a woolly mammoth for that matter. So it's not really any worse. It's just not better either. And then of course, flying through the air during a blizzard is not necessarily great. So. There you are, though. Everyone at the intended destination there, already shivering. And Arteme, as she had told you, near the end of last week's session, has already warned you that there is a blizzard coming very rapidly. Like the snowstorm is going to get much, much worse very soon. So what are you doing?
All right. How much further do we have to go now that we can still turn back into that, chilly fucking. I mean, if it's still cold, but we could turn back into that thing and move, through the air if we need to. We have like 6 more hours of it, or however long.
Yeah, about 7 hours of the wind. Yeah.
So now where? Joe, can you speak? Do you know where we're going?
Ben, did you read the notes that I gave you?
Yeah, I'm checking them again now.
Okay.
'Cause I can never remember anything worth a shit.
So you probably have, just to get to the road, you probably have 2 to 3 more days. It could be longer if you get delayed, basically. So if well, the reason I point that out is that, for example, the blizzard, if you guys chose to like stop and to stay here and hold up or something until the blizzard's gone, then you will lose that travel time essentially. But if you were to travel the whole time, it's 2 to 3 days before you would make it to the road.
Even in the gas form?
The gas form, you probably wouldn't be able to move any quicker, really, because you're going to have wind blowing against you also.
So, Artemite, can you tell us when exactly this blizzard's supposed to hit?
she's very cold. It's hard for her to speak when it's this cold out.
Yeah.
You can tell. Look at her lips chattering away.
Fox, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we can.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's a good question.
Well, Fox is going to sound like the DM here real quick for just a moment. But she can tell that, like, you guys have less than an hour before the blizzard will be on you where you're at now. If you guys travel further north, you're going to hit it sooner.
Well, is there anywhere around us? Does anyone see any spot where we could brave the storm?
You guys want to hunker down?
I mean, it's a storm. I don't really want to, especially if we're 2 to 3 days away from getting to the road. Are we going to walk through a storm for possibly, I'm already freezing my ass off. I don't even feel like I'm 100% right now. If there is a cave or something, how long do storms usually last up here? Do they last like a week, a day?
Well, this is not regular weather here, so.
Yeah, this is brought from that big
Yeah.
fucking asshole flying around.
I mean, of course, they could last for days at a time, yeah, but that's probably going to be sometimes, but it seems much worse than normal here. I don't remember.
And there's no
either, so.
And there's definitely no secret caves or anything that might just lead us there, like underground.
Wasn't there a cave up here a little bit farther up? You said, Holmes, when we were playing.
There are tunnels all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are caves and tunnels all over the place up in these mountains. In fact, there's
I would like to start, if there's one near us, I would like to go and just run into it and see if I can find a place that looks like it might keep going in the direction we need to go.
Are there any tunnels that connect?
Not nearby is the thing. Like, basically, you pretty much, like, the primary path to get to the peak is to hit the road first and follow the road up. The road up is the best way. The tunnels around here, the nearest ones that Nora could be aware of are closer to White Holler, which I'm going to share you guys a map here real quick. You guys, I believe you've seen this one before anyways, but this is the area that you're in. This is the one that's on the loading page. I can't draw. One of the things that I hopefully there'll be a module or something for at some point, or maybe added a core, is I would like to be able to draw on these two so that I can show you exactly what I'm referring to. But basically, you guys are in the kind of, you see the brownish mountains with the white caps? You see the tallest one that's kind of center and then a little bit to the left?
Yep.
And just south of White Holler, essentially. That's where you guys are at. You guys are near you're not quite to the peak at all. You still got days to get there. But you're basically heading northeast of that to where that road is. And to the right, down the hill there, you see where it's labeled Hillbreck. That's there. And then there's a town called Meadow Lake, which is the very center. Each of those little houses is a town. Like, this is a big region. The center one is a town called Meadow Lake, which is an area that Ben knows, or Norok is familiar with. And basically that road, if you were to follow it back up, up the slope, it would take you to White Holler, which is where the Yogg are typically encamped at this time of year.
We just need to get up and over this mountain, and then it's all downhill, and then we hit the road, and then
it's much easier. Yeah, it's just once you get off of this mountain, it's much easier. You guys are just on a tough mountain, and basically okay. So I don't know if you guys remember this, but originally when Shok had come down to the fray, he told you guys that it took him 2 weeks to get there, and it's because he didn't go through the mountains. He went around. He went down the road to the southeast and then around on flat land, which is the smart way to go. But you guys didn't have that kind of time right now, so you went straight through instead.
Cool.
Which typically would be fine. It's just because of the unnatural winter here. So you guys can close that map if you're done with it, but you can get to that anytime you want.
You know, it's going to be exciting when we get to go back and you guys get to live in a less shitty place because of winning that tournament.
Yeah,
Or is it-
that's a lose.
Yeah, some place where you can grow more than just 3 potatoes a year or something.
Hopefully, I eat a lot more than that.
What's the plan? You guys got a very rapidly approaching blizzard. You are all chattering teeth at the moment, and I mean you can wait it out, which is what Sako had started to mention there. But of course, you will lose some time to do that. The blizzard won't last forever. Arteme has given you the impression it'll probably last the majority of the day, so it would probably be late afternoon by the time it's gone.
I mean, honestly, if we're still a few days away and there's some safety, I say we just find whatever the closest area is and I mean,
If the blizzard won't last too long, though, we should just keep moving.
Yeah, but we could get lost in that blizzard. So if it's not going to last very long, we should probably find somewhere to ride it out.
I mean, if we find a cave, we can. I mean, even
Yeah.
if there's something bad living inside the cave, we can maybe check for some footprints on the entrance and things like that, and hopefully at least be prepared for it. We might have to fight a bear inside it, but just until the storm's gone.
Hopefully it's not a dragon inside the cave.
Or the
Well, if there's a dragon, we'll run screaming, turn ourselves into clouds, and run away.
might
and
be some
scatter.
eyeballs.
Scatter! I mean, that seems fine enough.
All right, so what's the plan?
Go find a cave.
Use my perception to see if there's anything around
Who's
us.
good at finding caves? Is anyone here better at finding caves? I'm very good at doing dancing and things like that, but there's nothing that I have that is going to help find a cave.
Well, it's funny actually because never mind. I was going to say never mind. Ben would be the only one to probably get this, but well, maybe Sako. But Final Fantasy III, the Mog dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the dancing is what he uses to do shit. And this music is from Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III as well. So anyway, yeah. So
I could
I guess
charm a cave into letting us into it.
All right, so who's who's going to be attempting to do this leading this search for this cave and so on? Because keep in mind, if you this could be disastrous if you guys fail. So this is very important that you stack yourselves up to succeed as best you can.
Right, well, my survival is 0, and so is my perception, so not me.
Well,
I'm a very
Yeah.
perceptive person.
probably someone who's good at surviving is going to want to find a safe cave. I am not proficient in surviving. Is there anyone proficient in surviving that hasn't used something yet?
Moderately proficient in survival.
Trying to remember the rules, and I.
So you have to be. It has to be a skill that you're proficient in specifically. You can't use it if you're not proficient. Which Sako.
I am not.
Yeah, Sako, you're not proficient in survival. Yeah. Yeah, so it has to have a check mark on your thing, and it can't be the person that last went, which was Norok, and he used survival on the last round.
Mhm. I was going to say I am, but I think I did that last time. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well-
so Norok can't be the one to do it. It's got to be Arteme, Nazim, Pogo, or Sarah.
If it's something for the perception, I can assist. But if it's survival, then I'm out.
I'm definitely not.
Well, I guess we're braving the storm, guys. I mean,
Well, it doesn't. So
K-
if you could listen, here's how it works. I don't care what it is. You guys can as long as you can make an argument for the skill that you want to use for it. Now, obviously, Justin, you're gonna have to argue pretty goddamn hard to say that you're
Yeah.
gonna charm your way into finding a cave.
I've got
but
literally deception, intimidation,
Yeah.
performance,
I have-
sleight of hand.
I have
But perception-
survival and
You do fuck-
nature.
All right.
Oh,
let me
you're
roll
there.
perception, then, if that's okay.
So-
We'll look around. We'll look for caves. I'll look for any broken branches. We'll look for any signs of a old avalanche of some sort, some type of a cave or something to shelter ourselves within, even if it's just like an overhang, like a solid rock overhang. In the event
No, fuck that. If you're looking, look for it in a cave. Don't find an overhang. That's for Bush League. Just find a cave. Don't.
yeah.
If all you're gonna find is an overhang, we might as well just keep going. All right.
all right.
Well-
So
I have survival or
Danza's
nature.
not gonna do it.
Fox. Let's see. You did. Which one did you do? No, you didn't go yet, did you? Yeah, it was.
No, I
Oh,
did.
you did.
I
Yeah,
got
you
the
did.
second
You went sleight
save.
of hand for the knots. That's right. Yeah. So it was Sarah, and then Arteme and Nordorok. So I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you guys want Arteme, who does have survival, to try to look for a cave that way, or do you want Nazim, who has not gone yet? Basically, how did I word this originally? Basically, each person needs to do at least one of these 8, with no more than 2 doubled up. So basically, if Arteme goes again, she can't go another time. And Nazim hasn't gone at all yet. So if you guys want to look at your, compare the modifiers, that's fine too. Or whoever has, right now Arteme has 1 point of exhaustion and Nazim has 0. So factor all of those things in, and then tell me how you guys want to approach this, and then I'll tell you what your DC is and what to roll.
Why don't we just have Nazim try to find us a cave? We'll relax. We'll try to huddle as best we can. We can keep moving forward, I suppose. But why don't you just try to see if you can go and find some sort of cave around us while we're walking,
I agree.
and not like a pergola or something. A cave,
Not a lean-to?
not a lean-to,
Not a yurt?
not like a thick tree.
All right, is that what you guys are going with then? And Arteme will save her second potential chance for later?
You guys, this is probably the best bet because I'll probably have to perform in front of something later in order to get around the storm. Yeah.
No, we could just have Pogo go perform in front of the dragon to distract it while we all run away.
I mean, if we run into a dragon, that will be fine. I can turn invisible and run the hell away from it.
The performance will be the fancy way at which he turns invisible while he's turning and running away.
Look at me. It probably wouldn't even care. It's not going to get any kind of nutritional value from me or anything. It would just see me as a fly.
You're barely toothpick style bones. All right, so is that what you guys are going with then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay with it.
All right. Okay, Nazim, don't roll it yet. Let's see. It's not going to be. This isn't, an environment that you're familiar with at all. And searching for caves, especially in blinding snow, is not something that you're, in any special skill at. But being proficient, I'll say that you're still able to roll this with a flat roll, not advantage, not disadvantage. And the DC. In this cold, in the kind of constant chill and the having to kind of stumble through the snow, I guess you can float over it, so that does help a little bit. The DC is going to be an 18 to find a cave.
All right.
So roll your perception check.
All right. Perception check. Normal. No advantage.
Yeah, no. You saw. Ooh, shit!
There it is.
He sees one right in front of us. 2 cents there.
You found a cave with a fire already inside.
So, in the hasty search, while everybody is trying to figure out what the plan is, you see Nazim kind of stumble away a little bit, almost drunk. I wouldn't say drunkenly, like a little bit awkwardly, while the wind is kind of whipping him around because his feet aren't really on the ground. So he's kind of just being pushed away while he's floating a little bit and having to right his direction. But he kind of just floats off a little ways past the copse and the trees. And there's a little dip in the ground, almost igloo-like, that when he kind of disappears beneath the snow, you all kind of follow after him as he's called for you and see essentially like a hole in the ground, like one of the snow shark's tunnels, essentially, that is otherwise protected from it. Is I scrolled up? Yeah, it was scrolled up. Okay.
You go. This is a nice. Look at this. How far back? How far back does it go?
It's not
Can you use Christmas
huge.
flame to create a flame?
You still can, yeah. The walls are solid ice. I will tell you. For Arteme, give me a nature check with advantage. And Norok, this is almost beneath the passive for you, so go ahead and give me a nature check with advantage for Norok as well.
How big is the entranceway to this cave?
It's not huge. This is clearly a creature's hovel that it created and then used. Norok, the kind of situation, you don't quite gather specifically what they what had created this. But Arteme, you're familiar with a specific kind of worm almost that lives in the mountains called a remora. Actually, it's Remora has is how it's spelled, but I pronounce it like Remora. I'm not sure if the Z is silent. I can't imagine it would be, but anyways, it's a very stupid word, so that's what I Remora.
It's a very dumb word.
And it's
After we're in, I'm going to cast Minor Illusion
to cover the door.
to cover the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Arteme, though, you're familiar with these creatures in that they are innately filled with a certain chemical, like a what's a bombardier? Do you guys know what a bombardier beetle is?
Not particularly.
It's a beetle that spits fire, like literally.
Yes.
And this creature is like a massive snake centipede, kind of like a mix between a snake and a centipede. That does that. It spits fire. This creature. And when it makes caves like this, the walls are kind of this very slick, almost glass-like ice because it's kind of melted its way through rather than carving its way through. And the tunnel that you're in is definitely the former inhabitants, a tunnel that Remoras has created. But it seems safe for the moment. You don't see any threats or anything of that sort. Does seem to be, it's not huge, but it is enough space for all of you to get inside of and be protected from the wind.
I'm sending dancing lights down just because I don't want anything down inside to surprise us.
Sure. It does go down for a ways, and then the down depth wise, where it keeps going, slipping like slide because the ice is so slick. If you were to follow it, you may not be able to get back up easily. But it goes down. There's the distance of the tunnel before it starts to kind of dip in elevation rapidly is probably 40 feet back. You don't hear anything or see anything. Arteme, give me another nature check. There's no residual warmth left in this cavern, except for what you guys are creating essentially from your own body heat.
Someone light a fire.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the creature's been here recently. It seems like you're probably safe. It doesn't seem like it's you all and I'll go ahead and tell you that they don't typically turn around and go back through the same tunnel they've made anyways. They might crash through on accident, but it's not something that it would just sneak up on you. Like you'd probably know it was coming.
It's not like we're sleeping. We're just going to hang out for a few hours and wait till this thing. If I remember correctly, it's only it's like 10 a.m. or something.
It was
early.
9 a.m. when you guys started this, and I would say that it only took Nazim, especially with a natural 20, took him 5 minutes to find the cave. So you're at 9:30 at this point, really early.
Yeah, we'll wait until the storm passes, and hopefully it's not that big of a deal. By the way, I realized my other spell only lasts a minute, so I'm not worried about minor illusion.
Okay.
Although before the storm gets here, are there any trees outside the cave?
Yeah, there's a big copse of trees that you guys were standing all near, essentially.
All right. Hey, Norok, do you want to go with me and we'll try to chop down some firewood?
Cool.
Let's do that real quick.
Cool. All right. Go ahead and give me both you guys survival checks. Or, I guess, however you're planning that. I don't know how much axe swinging Pogo's actually intending to do.
Tell you what, I'll give you. I'm gonna give you. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to supervise, and I'm gonna give you bardic inspiration, with my supervisory abilities. So you have an extra a D10 to add to your. I'm guessing strength.
Yeah, it'll be an athletics check.
Yeah, and I will try to catch the wood and pile it up in a acrobatic manner. Best. I will just. Oh, here we go. This is what I'll do. I'll be the runner. You just keep chopping wood, and I'll just run it back to the cave as fast as I can, back and forth.
You can dance.
And you have a D10 to add to your roll.
Yeah, athletics or acrobatics.
That's just me running back and forth.
Sure. Athletics for your check, G.
Okay.
Chopping wood.
And you can add a D10 to it if you want. Only does last 10 minutes. You're doing a great job chopping down that tree. No overtime, though, but it's all right.
Both of you minus a D4 technically, but Artemis should have been a minus a D4 for the nature.
You want to add a D10 to yours to Norok?
Yeah, I can add a D10 and then minus a D4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might as well.
-3, so I got 22.
Yeah, it's still fine.
Am I running around? It's
Sweet.
good because it keeps your heat up if you're running around outside a little bit, but you don't want to sweat. The trick is layers, Norak, layers.
You're telling this to the guy that lives in these fucking mountains.
Is wearing a loincloth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, he's got a.
Maybe you should make sure you wear 2 loincloths, and then you
Yeah.
can take one off if you start to get too sweaty.
Yeah, 20 is still fine. Norak is easily able to knock down a coniferous that is short enough that once it's down, he can kind of just go along, like a chef chopping a carrot or something, just along the distance of it and hack it into usable firewood. The tunnel itself, since it is kind of solid, Arteme can tell you that you guys can have a fire and it will not collapse on you or anything like that, but it is very quickly going to start dripping, which will make you all wet, which is the same as, you might as well be sweating at that point. So keep that in mind.
That's fine. We don't have to sit down. We're adventurers. If we can't stand up like a coals shift, we don't deserve to be out here doing stuff. Just relax. Try to keep dry.
All right, everybody back in the kind of temporary cavern then. Not super high. Norak, you can't really stand up straight. You pretty much have to kind of either slump against the side of this, cylindrical shape against the ice, or just kind of squat down just because there's not really enough room for you to stand up straight. Same with Shok. But there's enough space, and it is very rapidly able to warm up with the fire that you built. It is going to be many hours until the blizzard passes. You probably have until 6 or 7 p.m. before it'll be gone.
Christ. By the time this is over, it's going to be practically dark out again. We're just going to go ahead and try, once this is over, try to maybe at least make it to the next spot. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be better than, the biting, freezing, invisible cold and hail coming down from a storm.
I mean, we could at least try walking like a few hours.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything to eat?
Still have rations.
Did you grab? I saw you grab some of that skin from the other creatures. Did you grab any edible parts, or is this just for you to be all gross?
Skin on
Nazim. Cool.
I do have some rations to share. If anyone needs some rations.
I can make
think
it
I've-
taste really good.
You know what? Let's do that because I'm starting to get sick of these. We haven't had when was the last time we sat down for a meal? It was when when we were hanging out with your father back at the keep. I think it's been a while.
That was like 2 days ago, but yeah.
I think it was more than that. Was it only 2 days?
I think maybe 3. Not very long.
Well, I'm 9 meals away from getting angry. How's that? I don't even think I have any rations. I'd leave it all behind. It's too heavy.
I think
Arteme?
I have some.
Yeah, I have some rations. I'll
Nice.
spread some out and make some good berries for good measure.
And somebody pick a flavor, because I can flavor up to 1 cubic foot of non-living material for an hour.
Pina colada.
All right.
Wait, you gotta choose the flavor.
Flavored jerky.
You gotta choose it.
Yeah, I can just
Yeah. Ooh.
chill, warm, or flavor.
All
I
right.
can
Let's
actually
see.
warm and flavor. But
I would love how about umami? Can you do umami flavor? Get a little
Sure.
umami on there.
so we'll have warm umami rations.
Mmm.
Tastes like soy
The
sauce.
pina colada chaser.
Yeah.
Take it. Did anyone bring any of that wine?
Isn't it?
Wait, is that the Stridos? Is it Iskil Stridos?
No, isn't that
No.
the bag of holding?
The wine? Let me check.
I think
Yeah, it should be.
so. The
I
Iskil
forgot.
wine.
I forgot I actually have access to a bag of holding. Let's grab that real quick.
I'm going to start playing my lute for a while.
Oh, and we have the alchemy jug.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
I thought we
Yes, you got
sold
it.
that or got rid of it.
It's in
I
the
thought
bag.
it-
It's in the bag. Yeah.
Is it? That bag is handy. How much is it? Oh, the bag's got a very quaint new interface looking thing.
The color. It's just the UI doesn't apply to this image. So that's why the background looks different.
All right, and there's only 233 pounds in it. Yeah, you're barely even using it. I'm gonna pull out. Is it not in here? Am I not seeing it? Maybe it's in.
I don't see the wine
Where
in
are
there,
you?
but the jug is.
Well, the jug can make wine, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make some wine. How much? I'm gonna pull the. Is that right? If you do, mind if I just reach in my arm in here and just pull this out? All right. Gonna go ahead and grab that.
Fox, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, fine.
I've got good news for everybody. This can make 1 gallon of wine.
That's not
And
for me.
I don't know what you're going to be drinking, but that sounds perfect.
All right,
Let's see.
so
How long does this take? Let's sloshing around. Uncork the jug,
Instantaneous.
yeah, it's instant. It
Oh, it's
creates it
instant.
instantaneous. Yeah.
but it can only be used.
They
Yeah,
can't
okay,
produce
so
a
it's
different
only
one until
one
it's
thing.
reached
All right.
until the next dawn. Yeah,
So
so
it can actually-
basically you get 1 gallon of wine today, and then you can't use it again until tomorrow, essentially.
All right.
So if you really wanted mayo on your umami stuff, that you.
I mean, honestly, the sushi with the what they call it. They have a name for it, but it's basically just mayonnaise mixed with sugar, and it's actually real tasty. They put it on it.
Ugh.
It's what's that sauce called?
Nightmare.
Yeah, it's just like a weird sweet mayonnaise based sauce they put on sushi in California all the time. It's literally, I'm pretty sure it's just like sugar and mayonnaise. I don't
Alright.
think they do that in Japan, by the way. Just California type
Yeah.
sushi. Oh, Pogo is probably going to drink more than he should. I'm gonna say he's probably very frustrated and cold, and slightly confused as to how they're up in this cave right now, and he's just gonna drink. He'll take another drink until he's a little stupid for the next challenges. He also feels very useless.
There's
I'm
not
glad
a
I'm
whole
here,
lot
guys.
of. There's not a
glad
lot
I'm
of
here to
You're not
help.
entertaining.
touching the wine at all.
Okay.
I'm glad I'm here to help us all get where we're going for the place. Nothing.
I'll say that there isn't enough for Norok to get, like, even if Norok's drinking, there's not really enough to get him, really tipsy at all. Because if it's a whole gallon and you guys are, well, I'm saying a whole gallon as if that's not a lot of wine, but when you're splitting it up for everybody, there's just not enough left for Norok and Shoke to actually get any negative impact from it, let's say, even without him not having any. So Pogo's drinking a little bit too much. How about Nazim and Sarah?
I'm gonna have a glass of wine and kind of set away from the group and do something that I haven't done for a very long time.
I was wondering when you were going to do that.
Check my arm.
Oh, okay. Not even that. I thought you were going to check the scroll. All right. So,
I will do that as well, but
sure.
first I'm checking my arm.
Are you staying within like sight, or are you just going off on your own?
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of a little bit back away from you guys because I don't.
Can I see it?
Dean
Can I-
has no idea. I'm not sure if you do, and Shoke definitely doesn't.
Yeah,
I
Shoke
think
definitely
I
doesn't.
think I might.
I think you have hints, but I don't think we ever actually told you the whole story.
All right. Where are you going?
I'm just gonna sit over here for a minute.
All right. The fire feels good though. So nice and warm on my bits. I'm in my
Hey.
hands.
A fat drop of water drips right off and hits you square in the eye. As soon as you say that.
Well-
from the ceiling.
There
Feels great
goes
to
my
get-
mascara. My mascara's ruins.
I'll be right back.
Does the
Get
it just feels like water, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
just
burning or
water.
anything?
No. It's not painful. It's basically just cold water dripping on you from the being close to the fire. So
Oh, it's so nice though. It's worth it. Worth it. When was the last time any of you people were romantic with other people? I was just reminiscing, thinking about stuff.
has nothing to do with him being drunk. This question comes up.
I was just thinking there was this girl once when we were out and I was a performer at an inn, and she had two sisters, and one of the sisters just gorgeous, and the other one was the ugliest person / thing I've ever seen. But they were a combo deal. It was just strange. It was just weird that would be a thing that I'd have to do once. But anyways. So, how are you, Fox? How are you? It's so hard to not call her Fox. How are you, Arzume? Is this the opposite of where you used to live? Is it cold? You can do okay in the cold?
I'll do okay in the cold.
Yeah. Did not know that there was that you prefer the trees and the environments with squirrels and things of that nature. Whenever I think of elves, it's more where I go to.
There's different kind of elves. I'm not a wood elf.
Where are you? You're well, what's kind of elf are you? I never really asked. Loving the role play.
That's as much as she wanted to share.
All
Artemis,
right, well, you know what? It's all right. We don't have to talk about the type of elf you are. That's fine. That's fine.
well, in having physiologically, there's not a visible difference between her and the standard city elf, right? Basically, so like a very common, not a wood elf, and that she doesn't have flowers in her hair and shit like that. But the elves are not physiologically all that drastically different, in that they do have pretty standard deviations amongst skin tone and eye shape and things like that. All the kind of standard ones that you would expect amongst, for example, human variations. But she is specifically called a moon elf from the Monodoran Isles. So the moon is just the Monodoran is just the elven word for moon. The islands where you guys were at, where Gwensair was. Where you fought the warrior and all where the jungle was, where you stepped on that mushroom and blew yourself up. Those were the Monodoran Isles. That's where she was from.
Yep. Moon Adoran Isles. Moon elf. Makes sense.
I have a question. Does it hurt? Like, do I notice?
You're the only one that got that message, so that probably sounds really strange to everybody.
Yeah. When you fell from heaven.
Poking at it, yeah, there's a little bit of pain when you poke at it. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify a little bit for you there. Initially, you started to see a little bit of growth, remember? And that was I don't know if you remember this because it's been a while, but it was constantly itchy during that time because the skin, the arm was beginning to regrow essentially. And it seems like that has stopped, but the new tissue is not looking particularly healthy.
Great. I'm just gonna go try to find Artemis and pull her off to the side.
Yeah, there isn't really room to pull anybody off to the side. You can go further up or down the tunnel essentially, but that's however you want to accomplish that.
Does it seem like the tunnel actually goes anywhere, or it's just like an old den?
So it basically goes into this hill essentially, and then it's leveled out for a while for about 40 feet, and then it starts to go downwards at about a 45-degree angle very rapidly. So basically, you have about a 40-foot kind of tunnel, that's 6.5 feet tall in diameter, rather. But as soon as you get to that slope over there, because of how slippery the glass ice is, if you kind of tipped over that, you would slip down into the darkness, and who knows how long it would be before you could stop and try to climb your way back up.
Okay,
all right, never mind then. I'm just gonna go ahead.
It wouldn't be a good idea to try and follow this wherever it goes and see if it leads outside.
You don't feel like that would be a very good idea. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
All right, then I'm not gonna pull her aside. At this point, I think Sarah's just freaking out, so she's just gonna sit down and be like, "Can you do something about this?" and just hold her arm out.
Okay. Artemis, Sarah, pulling the kind of glove from the where she had it stitched to the end of the sleeve there. She pulls the sleeve up and shows you the stump of her, just above the elbow, basically, where her arm was gone. And there you see this beginnings of disease is what it looks like. It looks gangrenous. It looks like the early stages of gangrene at the stump, the end of the stump there.
Okay. I'm gonna try healing word. No, not healing word. Lesser restoration on it.
Okay. Go ahead and mark off the spell slot. You applying the kind of these are panacea salves. You know that the salves themselves don't do anything, but it's just been something that was taught to you when you were little. When you're doing this kind of attempt at healing, the salves themselves have no impact. But when you cast Lesser Restoration, Sarah, after she finishes, you don't really feel anything from the magic itself, but after she finishes and you start kind of poking at it again with your finger, it doesn't hurt so much anymore. You can still feel that you're poking at this, the nerve endings are still there, but you don't feel the pain. You don't see any change in the coloration, though. It still looks like whatever is there is remaining. It just, it doesn't feel like it hurts. It may have slowed it, you don't know.
I think I could upcast it using this Wood Sage's Chorus.
You definitely can for healing. Spells that do healing. Yeah, so I think it upcasts by 2 levels or something.
I'll do that with that one then.
Okay. You gonna cast it a second time then? Well, all right. We'll go ahead and assume that you thought to use the Wood Sage's Chorus on the first cast. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because it just popped into my head. I'm like, oh, I still have that.
Yep. Yeah, it's still attuned. In fact, actually, I updated the concentration thing at the bottom of there. I know I told you that before, but I wanted to put it in there so that in case I forget in the future that if you have 2 spells that you're concentrating on and something hits you, that the old one gets attacked first. As far as your concentration saves, I put that in there so that's in case I forget. Now that I've put it in there, I won't ever forget it anyways. But still, with the upcasting. I'll go ahead and say that the flesh tone is okay. Is more kind of returning to normal skin tone for you. The kind of thin green hue that had covered it is gone. You feel like it may come back and it may worsen, but at least for right now, it seems like whatever is in there is gone.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I've already essentially lost the arm. I don't want to lose the whole thing.
Well, you had an offer to get it back completely. You just did choose to follow up on that, I suppose.
When was that?
I think it was on the ship. It was either on the ship originally or in early communication after the ship. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No.
All right, I'll put it in your character channel later on.
All right.
All right. So, what is Nazim doing during this this kind of day, essentially, almost a whole day of being inside this tunnel?
Keeping myself warm, of course. I'm going to be drinking from the water skin and using some rations.
Okay.
How's the fire and just everyone's comfort level in the cave? Is everything okay?
Apart from the constant dripping above the fire, I'll go ahead and tell you too, by the way, that because this tunnel is it's not not completely flat. It is sloped a little bit. So if you go a little bit closer to the door, like the hole that you guys came in through, the smoke is heading out that way. So you do have a little bit of that. But as long as you're sitting down on the floor, the smoke is above your head. You're not being choked by it, and you're not being dripped on either. So there's kind of a sweet spot that you could find that is a little bit more comfortable than actually being just rained on constantly. But apart from that, it's pretty warm and comfortable inside this little tunnel here that you guys have made.
All right.
Do we feel like we're pretty? Is like the smoke going out of the tunnel?
It's not going to choke you guys. Yeah, it's going out. Yeah, you just don't really have anything to worry about as far as.
Does it look like that drip might be a problem in the future, overnight, or in a couple hours, or is it just kind of more of a noise than anything else?
If you kept it going overnight, yeah, it would probably be an issue. As far as the duration of it, I'll go ahead and say that about this point, it's probably about halfway through Artemay can tell that the blizzard that is just this constant barrage just blowing past the hole in the tunnel entrance. It's about half over with. She can tell you.
Okay, then in the meantime, I'll just sip from my water skin, consume a little bit of my rations. I'm going to also take the immovable rod, extend it over the fire so that the water drops hit the immovable rod and runs down the immovable rod away from the fire, just so it's like a path.
The rod itself is only 1.5 inches in diameter, so it's not like basically the drips are coming from all over the ceiling around the fire. Like if you were to stand back and look at it, the hole probably 6 feet, let's call it 6 feet in diameter, or in radius rather, from the fire. So 12 feet in diameter above the fire is dripping. It is more focused around the center, but the rod itself won't be enough. And basically, some of the drops would hit it, sure, but most of them won't.
All right. I was just thinking if it was just one drop, the surface tension can run the water down the thing. But if it's a bunch, then that's useless. So I'll just eat, drink, and then look over my nerilium dust just to kind of observe it a little bit closer and see if I can learn.
I was going to look at my nerilium dust too.
All right.
This powder I've got in here.
I did update some of the items in your guys' inventory, by the way. Fox, I updated 1 or 2 of yours. 2 of yours. The Wood Sage's Chorus was 1, and then there's one other one. So anyways, as far as looking that over, first, is Nazim drinking at all, or
just water skin?
Just water. Okay. The Neralium dust that you guys, do you remember what that came from? The smashed up crystals in the basement
it was
of the church?
from the room that she cancelled out all the magic, and we couldn't do any magic in that room. It's dumb room.
Yeah, Justin. So we specifically, with griffins, we specifically called them beasts, not monstrosities. I
I just accidentally
recoded
sent
them
you like
essentially.
a message from. What the hell's happening?
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
I
just
get it. Because
twice.
I have to open the macro to change it. Never mind. I was like, why does it keep just sending
Okay.
the same message?
Is that
Because
okay? That's
because I
a weird
kept
thing to ask
left
right
clicking.
now.
I kept left clicking, and I'm like,
Yeah.
because I have to edit it first. All right.
Yeah, that's an old one then, I assume, right? That's from yeah.
No idea.
I was like,
No idea.
I remember it. I remember when you asked
Yeah.
that, but it was like we had this conversation before. Anyway,
All right.
I just figured you forgot. But yeah. So in looking it over though, well, both of you, um, the smashed up powder, there's kind of a lot there's some that is just powder, and then there's some larger chunks in it, and the powder you can't really get much of, even if you kind of lift it up and try to look through it, you can't really see anything. But the chunks, like the bits that are a little bit larger, when you hold them up kind of with the fire behind it, looking through it like a prism, there is just an immediate light show of this kind of dark purple lasery shit that just immediately kind of bounces off of the ice, the glass ice surrounding you, and kind of. You guys know how fiber optic cable works?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks the tunnel you're in looks like a purple fiber optic cable when you do it, because it starts to reflect through the prism and then hitting the walls behind you, and then kind of reflecting off of that and then hitting another wall. It very rapidly illuminates this whole place in this very dark, somewhat unsettling purple glow.
Nice. I think that's good for me then.
Okay.
We're not going deeper into the cave or anything, I assume.
I
Up
mean,
to you guys.
I don't
honestly, you know what? You guys said it probably it just goes down, right? Like we probably go down, but then we couldn't get out of it, right? I think
Probably.
someone looked. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get away from that. Climbing up ice. You ever try to climb up ice? You can't climb up ice.
All right. Anybody doing anything else for this? Or are you just waiting out the storm?
I'm gonna check the scroll.
Okay.
Other than that.
I did this last time, and I meant to put it in your. You were going to send something in the chat, and then you didn't.
Yeah, I forgot, and then I don't remember what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, we'll follow up on that again. I think you have 2 messages now. So we'll have to, because he can only technically write. Well, I'll figure it out. I'll either he merges the messages, or you got one, and then at a previous time, last week or something like that, and then checked it again.
Okay.
Justin, I think you typed that. No, you did. You sent it just. I think. Anybody else see the message from Justin, or just me?
Could be just it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Secrets.
He didn't give you a name, but
He said to look for someone.
Yes. Okay. So that part. That's what you're looking for. He
Yeah,
said.
I didn't add it to my notes.
There you go. That's what he said.
Thank you.
I don't. There's another note that you may have picked up on, but I don't think you've really had a situation where Pogo could have pieced together some evidence yet. So when you guys get to like an actual restful place, remind me, Justin. Like when you get to sleep in a bed and Pogo can actually think straight for a little bit, especially when he's not drunk. Although actually, if he gets to get to sleep, but he's probably going to be drunk too. So anyways, remind me though, and I'll give you the details of that. You find G didn't hurt anything. All right, so you guys just waiting out. Anybody doing anything else?
I'm just playing the rocking it.
Fox?
I'm taking a better look at the skull.
Okay.
Because I hadn't before.
Mhm.
Do the petals regrow or not?
You don't know, and in fact, the details that are in there, Okay, so I put all of the details of how it works in there, but I'm going to tell it to you that Arteme. So it's okay for Fox to know all of that. Arteme has just kind of vaguely intuited that this is probably how this thing will work, by essentially kind of spending enough time with it that the petals seem to have a very severe toxin, but you don't feel like they would regrow.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 5 on there currently, in kind of a crown shape around the front of the skull. But if you were to pluck one, it will function as described there, and Arteme would find that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that Arteme can use it right now, and it would work just fine, as described there. But as far as you don't have necessarily, Arteme doesn't automatically know all of the specifics that are in there, if that makes sense.
Okay, but I can't be charmed, so I'd be fine.
Well, read it closer. The person who picks it is not at risk anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd be fine in either direction basically, even if someone was trying to use it against you. But yeah, as far as you being the one picking it, it wouldn't hurt you anyways.
Okay, so I'll save this for later.
Cool. All right. Then with everybody waiting out the storm, I'll tell you that you probably don't really hear much difference because the noise of, a very rapid, sleet and icy wind blowing, over a tunnel like that is going to sound pretty similar whether it's blizzard or not. But Arteme does tell you it's probably about 5:30 or 6 p.m. or so at this point that the storm has passed, or that at least this is your best chance to get out of here if you're going to resume your journey. But it is getting late as well, so what do you guys want to do?
Do we still have a bit of time in the wind form?
No, because the storm lasted
No.
8 or 9 hours. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Alright. So we can just maybe get back on the woolly mammoth. Is that not a bad plan?
I mean, as long as there's somewhere for me to walk. I mean, are we going up more sheer cliffs, or is there like a trail?
I think aren't we supposed to more be like going downhill to find the road eventually here?
Not yet.
Or
You still have up a ways and then down.
All right. I mean, when we get up there, we should just make a sled. You could turn into like a giant stingray, and then we could slide down like they're like a sled on you.
I could, but I don't know if the stingray would survive. I mean, it's
Oh, you're right.
supposed to be in
That's
the
not a
water.
good idea.
not
Who
on
can
ice.
turn themselves into that? A
An
snort thing.
inanimate object?
All right, let's just go. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. It's feeling much warmer than I did before.
You say that
Wouldn't
now.
that be the
but,
drinking?
What was that?
I said, wouldn't that be the drinking?
Right. It's one of the benefits of the healthiness of them. The drinkings.
all right. Well, you guys step out of the kind of temporary cavern you would hold up in. The wind is if anything, it's a little bit lighter than it had been before you guys went in. Or as the blizzard was beginning at least. And it is, it's a little bit easier to see. It is kind of a gentle slope upwards. You're not, climbing cliffs at this point, but it is still pretty deep snow that you're having to trek across. It's going to be, you could probably put it at least a few hours of walking in, and then, before the sun goes down, and then decide what you want to do for the evening. Is that what you guys are doing?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
What's the means of travel? This isn't another skill challenge step here, but just are you mammothing it again? What are you doing?
I would say, will the mammoth be able to make it?
This would be pretty ideal as far as considering the situation, anyways. As far as the mammoth, you would still be able to trudge through the snow just fine. It's not a steep cliff, really. It's basically just a kind of a long walk through deep snow.
Great, let's do that.
Does anyone think? Oh, never mind. What if there's a possibility that that maybe a mammoth might be seen easier by that big thing flying around? Maybe I could make us invisible, and then in mammoth form, and then you can all just look at the footsteps, and then we will be easier to hide if the thing flies overhead.
Well, I'm a mammoth now, so I don't know what you're saying, actually. So
All right. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that would be all right? I can just make us anyone on the mammoth. I can make us invisible, and then we can be less seen, perhaps, by things. Or at least I can make the mammoth invisible, and then we just look like we're floating around on a log or like a big empty space, like we're
I'm
flying.
gonna turn into a fox and curl up onto the mammoth to curl up.
Okay.
Well,
Where'd you go?
keeping an eye out.
Hell. I'm just gonna go ahead and climb on top of the mammoth, and I'm gonna cast invisibility on the mammoth.
Okay.
After
Are you
we
doing
get
your
nice
little-
and cozy?
Your fur tent thing again?
I'm just pulling down, and I've got Pietro just walking in to let me know if anything bad happens.
Okay. All right. Then Sarah's a mammoth. Arteme is up on the mammoth. Pogo's on the mammoth. What are Norok? What are you doing?
You know, technically, anything the target is wearing or carrying is invisible as well.
Well, it wouldn't count as creatures anyway. So
Sure.
yeah, but
You guys just see the underside of Pogo, just my belly, and arms and legs pulled flat against the top of what is a woolly mammoth. I look like I'm
he's sleeping.
flying.
Norak.
Oh, and I can see you too.
Okay, all right. So Norak's trudging through the snow. It is deep snow, but you're tall enough to kind of kick through it. This is still natural environment for you, so you'll be rolling with a normal check. Nazim, how about you?
Since this is the natural environment for the mammoth, and it seems like it's got good traction, I'm just going to stay very close to the mammoth, holding on to its side fur, and float above the snow. Essentially, I'll just be...
There's room for you to be up on top of it with Pogo and Arteme as a fox if you wanted to.
I can see you through this ass of this thing.
What's that, Sarko?
Invisible.
What I'll do is I'll just hold on to the side of the mammoth and just float as if I'm on a skateboard being pulled by a car.
Okay.
So, that way I'm close to the mammoth for warmth and also use it as a wind shield or
Sure.
a wind break.
Okay.
Opposite direction of whatever the wind's blowing.
All right, sounds good. All right, then in that case, Nazim and Norak, you'll both be making Constitution saves, but still DC 20. Sarah's fine, Arteme's fine, Pogo's fine, because you guys are all kind of, well, Sarah's the mammoth, and then Pogo and Arteme are in the fur, essentially. So,
I'm
Ray
also
actually
made of fur, technically.
yeah, well, you know what, maybe as an Arctic fox, maybe, but I would say the unnatural, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, by the way, this is the last day of it being like, within natural thresholds of cold. It will get much, much harder hereafter, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so Arteme, Pogo, and Sarah, you guys are fine, no checks needed. Ben, yours will be with advantage because of being a Yogg, and Nazim, yours is a normal roll.
There's an inn, there's a mighty fine inn beneath the old grain hills.
Still not enough for either of you, so both of you will have another point.
You guys look real
Nazim has
tired
one.
down there.
I guess since you can see through the mammoth and watch them, yeah, you can still
I can
watch
see
them.
it. Normally, I wouldn't be able to because there'd be an entire mammoth in the way, but I can see it because I can see through it. Hi.
Entire mammoth. So Norak, you're at 2, which I'm going to go ahead and point out. Shok was already at 2 earlier, but he succeeded there, so he's still at 2. But Nazim, you're at 1 now. Basically, everybody's at 1 except for Norak and Shok, who are at 2. The pace, as the mammoth is able to kind of keep trudging through, Norak starts to fall behind a little bit. His stride is longer than all of you's. But it just seems like the cold and the endurance of trudging through this snow is starting to slow him down. So between he and Shok, they begin to kind of lose pace and get further and further behind until you presumably slow down, Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys are still able to make headway, but it is getting slower and slower as Norak and Shok get more and more tired. Evening goes on until the sun has gone down in the west, beyond the mountain. It goes basically the sky is still lit up. It's still dark gray clouds of this storm, of course, but the sky is still lit up for a few hours after the sun is no longer visible. But it is completely gone by about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah, and it starts to get very cold very rapidly. You're going to have to set camp soon or try to trudge on through. So what are you guys doing?
Well, we need to find somewhere to camp.
I'm gonna ask Pietro to also look for somewhere that would give us some sort of shelter.
Okay. He can go out in a horizontal way. He can't get too high up and still be able to see. 1, because of the ice, and 2, because seeing back down through the snow is also difficult. But in searching around at a 16, he's not able to spot any, beyond. There are plenty of crags that you guys could kind of set the treehouse beside to kind of block the wind, but not cavernous, not anything with a roof over it, essentially.
Well,
How many more
crag would help because you technically have a roof with cavern, right? Or not the cavern, but the tree house.
Yeah.
Yep. A roof.
Yeah, the dome itself will protect. Yeah, you won't be in the snow. Even if with the dome over you, you'd be warm and safe inside.
How many hours are we going? How many hours have we been walking on the mammoth with the mammoth?
3 maybe.
All right, I'm gonna cast it 3. Stay invisible, so that uses.
Okay.
I'll do the same with polymorph.
Oh, it's only an hour. Yeah, for polymorph. Yeah.
All right.
And there.
I just went ahead and marked my spell slots down.
All right. You guys gonna set camp?
I should have done that. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
All right.
What time is it? So it's just nighttime.
Yeah, we'll call it about 8 o'clock at this point.
All right. This is a long, boring day, guys.
Are there
How
any-
are we not? How are we not over this fucking hill already?
Didn't we have days to go yet? I mean,
Just
obviously
Yeah.
we wouldn't be over it yet.
I'm gonna need to eat at least 2 rations tonight, or maybe a good berry, maybe a berry good berry. Let's. I guess we could do that. I mean, I'm gonna send. I'll keep Pietro out. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I feel like if we're gonna be setting up outside, and we've come so far, there's probably something else that might try to attack us or hurt us while we're sleeping. But I suppose we should do it. I don't see any areas to sleep.
All right.
I'm gonna sleep
Automate, you
pretty
make the
well
tree?
tonight.
Yeah, I'll set up the tree.
Okay. All right. You guys set up your habitual sleeping quarters. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that as soon as you do, Artemae, and you finish the tree house and you've climbed inside, almost immediately the roof is blanketed in snow. It's still safe inside. It's not like there's no risk of it collapsing or anything like that. But you can't really see out almost immediately because of how quickly the snow builds up on the roof. You know, the dome, the top of the dome. Well, sphere really, but the top of the the top portion of it, let's say. So you don't really have much visibility, but again, it's it's starting to do the process you described last time, where you're kind of slowly warming it up and everything to keep everybody comfortable inside. Otherwise, it is perfectly safe to enter and stay inside. So, you guys do anything for the evening?
I'm going to cast alarm around the tree just so if something gets close, we know.
Okay. Then you step outside and grab a couple of twigs, just little broken off twigs that you could find from nearby coniferous, and plant them into the snow as inconspicuously as you can, and unravel this invisible magical thread between them that you can see, and those with the ability to sense magic can see, but otherwise nobody's really going to notice these itty bitty little twigs sticking out of the snow as you thread it all the way around at what's the max?
It's a 20-foot radius.
What are you doing? Are you setting a trap there?
No, it's
Can
an
I-
alarm. It's a cube.
Can I do something before you set these alarms up?
Well, you can walk in and out if you want. It's just anything other than us would set it off.
All right, well, just give me 2 seconds here. 1 second. Okay, hold on.
Is there
hold
plant
on.
life around?
All right,
Yeah,
now
there's
I need to
trees all around.
concentrate. I need to concentrate. All right.
Okay, other than the trees,
there's
is there
seven
like
concentrate.
plants around?
Pogo's trying to
I'm
pee on the
going-
electric fence.
I am going to use both my 5th level spells, one after the other, to bring 2 huge trees close to kind of camouflage, just like move them and plant themselves like back next to the treehouse and almost cover it to make it like blend in more, as these 2 massive trees from around just kind of come close and keep us right surrounded.
What spell
Wait,
is
how
it?
do you move trees?
It's
Okay.
a spell I haven't used in quite a while. Like I'm just
So-
basically going to move
Yeah.
them close and combine them.
So what you see then, Artemae, as Sarah's kind of beginning to draw this invisible line surrounding the place, you see 2 nearby trees kind of begin to almost shrug. Remember the trees that were moving back when you guys were on Gwynnsair on the Monodoran Isles, and the trees that were hostile to you? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So you see these trees kind of shrug and just a deluge of snow collapsing off of them, and they kind of look like they're shaking their arms almost and knocking the snow off as they shrug themselves up out of the ground and stomp slowly through the snow towards the tree that you have now built, and kind of pushed up against it. The branches can't pass through the dome, so they're kind of just flat against it on the sides, but enough to kind of surround the area here, and the dome is no longer visible from a distance you would expect, Pogo.
There we go. It's just something I can do. It's
Okay.
learned it, picked it up. I'm exhausted though. That took a lot out of me.
Especially when you're
So-
already drunk.
Other than
What are
the
they?
trees, is there normally like other plants around?
Well, I guess elaborate on what you mean by other plants, because there's a lot of coniferous tree. There's basically what you would expect to see in a Pacific Northwest kind of a forest. So what kind of plants are you looking for? Because you're not going to find a lot of, well, the grasses would be under the snow, but they'll be, mostly dead.
Are we too high up to even have life like that, or is it just trees at this point?
You're not at a super high elevation. Like this
Okay.
wouldn't even be this would be during this time of year shouldn't even have snow. It would
Okay.
during further into the winter it would, but this time of year you should have been able to walk right through this cleanly.
Like I'm talking about like flowers or like edible plants.
It'd be very limited. Like Arteme would probably have a decent chance if she went foraging, but it would mean being exposed to the elements for longer.
Okay, because what I was gonna do is I was gonna do weave plants to make like the plants around us in like the dome flourish, and like bear fruit or whatever. So anything that was around us that's edible to like make some food.
They're probably right now, specifically the environment that you're in right now, you're probably not going to have enough. Like the plant life that is beneath the snow, maybe it hasn't had a ton of time being buried under the snow. It's only been for a week now, maybe. So there's probably still some of it that's still alive, but you're probably not going to have a whole lot to be able to commune with to kind of bring up, if that makes sense.
Okay, but still, a bit more food is better than none.
Sure. Yeah, I will say that you, in so doing, you at least have enough that if you do this by morning, there should be in this area fruits, probably just mostly berries, but there'd probably be enough of decent sweet tasting berries that you could have a decent breakfast from that.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Okay, all right.
I got us breakfast.
Yeah, in the morning there would be enough plants around that also would provide some extra cover too, if anything.
That's what I was going
bushes growing up.
for.
Sure. All right, so you guys have built yourselves a little hidey hole with trees and plants, and set up shop for sleep. Anybody doing anything else for the evening?
Sarah's just gonna go to sleep, but I found what I was supposed to send you. Oh shit!
Okay.
What did I do?
I don't see it yet, so it doesn't look like you pasted it anywhere. You didn't mean to.
There you go.
Cool. All right, I'll come back to that. So I'll send it to you probably after the session. So, cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sleep.
Okay. All right. Then is anybody doing watch?
I'll stay up and do watch for a few hours.
Okay.
I'll take them.
Pogo's gonna
Enjoy. I'm
Okay,
gonna
Pogo
drink a
and
little bit more. Drink a little bit more wine, and I'm just gonna
That's what
have
Pogo
a
needs.
telepathic conversation with Pietro about his long lost loves.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep watch just in case he falls asleep because I also only need a 4-hour trance
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah. All right. So then you will. Okay. Then we'll just say that you're awake through his and then your own, which will be the first 4 hours, let's say,
Arteme.
and then you
Okay.
wake up Sarah.
You're staying up with me, Arteme? That's so sweet.
Oh, of
Did
course, it
you
shoots her in the
know-
foot. First thing, immediately shoots her in the
Did
foot.
you know that Pietro once was in love with a small farm cow? He was telling me about it. His parents did not agree. Did not think it was a good idea.
I
To
mean, Sarah's
have.
sleeping, but don't they usually eat cows?
yeah,
That's
what
why
I
the
was
parents
thinking.
didn't approve.
That's why it was a Romeo and Juliet situation.
It was a tale of two houses, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. Anyways,
Arteme closes.
That's
her
why
eyes
he's a
and pretends to
vegan
go
now.
to sleep so that Pogo will leave her alone.
give me that deception check.
I can tell you're vacant. All right. Then
Star-crossed lovers.
Norak taking the last watch.
Yeah.
Nazim, anything for you for the evening?
Just resting up and being creepy with my little skin swatches.
All right. Then Norak, the middle of the night, I'll go ahead and tell you guys that the watch is boring in the sense that you can't really sit outside. It's just too fucking cold to do that. And inside, you are not only the top of the dome is covered in snow, but the sides of the dome are covered in tree branches. So you can't really see anything. You're pretty much just relying on hearing what you can hear from outside, or for in Pogo's case, Pietro kind of keeping an eye out. Although I guess for Arteme and Sarah, you guys could use Noctua and Sai to kind of keep an eye out as well if you chose to. But the night goes by uneventful for all of you, except for Norak. Norak, probably expecting this almost because of the location of where you're at right now. You have that same dream again. And there you are, back in that same waiting room, craning your neck because the ceiling is too low for you to stand up straight, and the chair is too small for you to sit in, so you're just standing and just this constant kind of ever-growing rage. The room looks weathered and abandoned. There's a constant wind that's just blowing through the whole place as if the walls were no shelter from the elements at all. When you've awoken later on, you do realize probably, of course, this is just from the environment that you're in, but in the dream, it manifests as if the walls are just not, stopping the wind at all. You look around, though, and you realize that you're alone this time. You look at the counter where you would expect to see Sorsha, the doctor's assistant, but she's not there. The cabinet behind the counter still shudders anyway, the way that it usually does when Sorsha steps backward away from you, just when she's fearful of your anger. And you hear the sound of the glass tincture bottles rattling in the cabinet, and then you wake up in a cold sweat despite the magic warmth of the treehouse in here. You look up and see Sarah there, kind of still awake and just doing her watch.
All right. And everything else in the dream was about the same. Like, did my level of control of myself in the dream feel the same, or did it feel more or less
No.
than usual?
It felt you typically have kind of two versions of this dream. The time of the kind of reliving of the events as they actually happened when you were actually there and the doctor was still there, and kind of this version of it where the windows are broken and the when you go through the door, you didn't this time, but when you go through the door, the window is smashed where he had jumped out of the window to get away from you. The window's smashed through and the place is like empty and looking abandoned, and that's the kind of version that you had this time. Essentially, the place was empty, Sorsha wasn't there, and otherwise it was just abandoned, and you still, kind of wake with this feeling of emptiness and what's the word I'm looking for? Impotence, I guess, like not being able to do anything about it, as bad as it is.
Yep. All right.
This was during my watch?
Yeah.
You feeling okay over there?
Yeah. Just bad dreams. Getting close to home makes them worse.
Like, you could always talk about it if you want. I mean, you don't have to.
It's about
Make a
somebody that-
both of you make a perception check.
Oh, why it's always perception.
Sarah will be minus a d4. Norok will be minus a d6.
Okay.
Ah!
All right, so 10 and a d6 for Ben. You did roll that with advantage, right, G? Yeah, it
Yeah.
says advantage. All right, so 10. Both of you at 10. Never mind. neither of you notice.
All right.
Cow's sleeping with a cow.
Apparently, Boga's having dreams too. Is it my line?
No penis.
What, Sako?
From Step Brothers. The clown has no Venus.
I remember.
Clown has no penis.
They have some weird ass fucking dreams, man.
You see Shok. Shok kind of begins to rustle a little bit, and he sits up. You see him open his one good eye. I would say, if anything, every time that he kind of opens that one good eye, you have the kind of flash memory of watching him get shot through the back of the head with the crossbow bolt through the sticking out of his eye before he died. And he kind of opens his good eye, kind of sleepily, looks in your direction. He still kind of brings his hands to his throat, brings one hand up to his throat like he's kind of pushing on it to maybe make his vocal cords work a little better. He says, "So it's still haunting you then, after all these years?"
Yeah, some things never change.
He looks over at Sarah, and then kind of slowly back to you, and he says, "So you won't even talk to them about it?"
Well, I'm sure being here is gonna, bring up all those old memories. So I'm sure I'll tell them soon enough. You know me though; I don't like to talk much.
He pulls his hand away from his throat and kind of just nods, and then kind of, he doesn't close his eyes, but he lays back down. he's kind of both of you having to kind of almost facing each other directly just to make room inside of this dome. There's not a lot of space, so you're pretty much just kind of directly across from each other.
Cool.
All right. Then everybody else wakes up beginning, in the morning. The night is past. Go ahead and apply your long rests, everybody.
Oh, it was honestly, it was nice. It felt like there was, you can hear the snow falling. You can hear like that nice, relaxing breeze as you sleep.
Did you
I had
dream
some
about cows?
weird dreams. Yeah, I was thinking. I think me and Pedro got a little too into it last night. And he's had a weird life for a bird. That's for sure. Do you know he tried to get into local he lived around this small town and they took him in almost like a pet, I suppose. Like they'd feed him every once in a while, and then they as a joke they elected him mayor of this tiny little town, and he couldn't really he was more like a pet mayor, and it was a joke, and he didn't like it. He thought it was stupid, and they didn't like wearing the hat.
He was a Lil Sebastian.
Yeah, pretty much something like that. He just very strange man.
Yeah, that.
Or
What
bird.
kind of town is it? What did he say? Where that town was? That is just weird.
He said, let's see. I see. Remember, he's only smart now. He used to just be an animal, and now he's not sure. He's pretty sure he'd know it if he saw it, though. But
Well, if he's smart now, maybe they should elect him mayor now.
I mean, he's smart enough. He can barely have a conversation. He doesn't even know how to play chess.
Really?
Hold on, guys. I gotta jot down notes for this town you guys may find in the future where they try to elect a griffin.
As if Pietro was gonna last to a whole town.
Yeah, really. He'll probably.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I'm sure. Sure, Pietro will be fine.
Don't
All
feed him to the dragon.
But morning comes, though. You guys do, looking down out of what little visibility you have out of the treehouse here, can see that the ground surrounding the tree is grown and vibrant with thick berry bushes. Not thorny, but climbing down out of the tree, you're going to have to kind of trample through these a little bit because they're so dense around the area. But sure enough, they are tasty and filling berries that don't require a good berry. If anything, you guys may be tired of them by now, I would say anyway, so you do have other options at least. So, what are you guys doing?
I'm just going to eat a shitload of berries and hope I don't crap myself.
I'm gonna pick some up for later and eat some.
Sure. Yeah, these are actual natural berries, so they won't decompose. Well, they won't decompose immediately the way that good berries do, within 24 hours. All right, then you guys gathering up your supplies and everything begin to set out for the day. So, because in the sake of time, we'll go to kind of you making the difficult travel necessary, of course, but travel your way for about half the day or so until you approach an area where the slope that you're in, this kind of upward slope that you've been going upward, has a caved in section, and there is essentially the path is collapsed in. There's a gap of about 40 feet or so at the narrowest, and it goes hundreds of feet in either direction. So if you were to try to go around, it would take you much longer, but it's only 40 feet or so across at the narrowest part. But on the far side of the pit, there are pitons or pitons or whatever that fucking word is sticking out of the ice with rope. Pitonis, yeah. With rope that is like a proper mountain climbing kind of a rope that is threaded around the pitons, all the way up to the top. And there are like kicked spots into the. Do you know what crampons are?
Yeah.
The little spikes that you put on your shoes if you're mountain climbing or ice climbing.
That's what women use that time of the month.
Yeah, cramp. Well, actually, with the word cramp, that probably would make sense, huh? But yeah, crampons are the little spikes that you basically tie to the bottom of your shoes that you kick into the ice with so you can step as you're moving up. Anyways, there's holes where those would have been kicked into the walls that move up. So anyways, you're at one side of a gap that goes down for a very long ways, and then on the other side goes back up again with this rope. So somebody has clearly been here. Shoke doesn't recognize it, and this pit wasn't here previously, so He doesn't know, why it collapsed away. Maybe it was just the weight of all the ice and snow or something. You don't know. But somebody clearly has come through here and climbed back up the other side.
I'm
But he was
going
done-
to first have Pietro go and fly on the other side and see if they can find the person that climbed up, see if they're still around, and then let me know. And then also, if you approach Pietro, just make sure you tell them, like, don't worry, I'm just not gonna hurt you. Just make sure you say it exactly like that. Go!
He kind of sails as quickly as he can over the gap because there's this constant upstream that the wind is blowing upwards up to the sides of the cliff and like blowing snow. If you were to stand at the edge, you'd be getting hit from snow coming from below, not above, if that makes sense. Anyways, so he kind of gets blistered, blasted away and up into the air a little bit further, and then sails down on the other side. It's not pushed away. He's still fine. It's not super strong. It's just enough that it like an updraft kind of.
I was picturing like he's just like, all right, and go, and he starts flying like into space.
And now we need Peter 4.0.
All right, well,
no, but he gets to the other side. Not even mayor, but governor. He's got higher aspirations.
Well, now there's no way he's gonna govern it. Okay.
But he makes it down to the other side. He floats around for a while, kind of flapping a little bit above the snow. He reports that there are no footprints visible, that recent snowfall, obviously overnight or anything, that's clearly covered up any tracks that there had been, especially with the blizzard yesterday. So he's not spotting any evidence in the area.
All right. Well, Peter doesn't see anybody over there. I'm gonna keep him over there just to keep an eye out because I'm always worried about things. But what are we doing here? How are we gonna get across? Because I don't want. How far down is that, you think?
You walking to the edge very carefully, because remember this is snow and ice, and you could slip. But you look peeking down over the edge. It's probably 150 feet down.
It's so far.
And it's craggy too. Like it's not a straight shot. Like it's down, and then it part of the ice kicks out a little bit, and then goes down another 30 feet, and so on.
Most of us
sucks.
could probably take the broom, but in order to get the big guys across.
Oh shit! I gotta go ahead. I have to take off the exhaustion levels. So, Norak, you're back at 1. Everybody else is back at 0. Choke's down to 1 as well.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just didn't want to forget to do that.
how about this? We could go and I could go grab the other side of. I'm scared. The way that I saw Pietro fly up on this thing does it make me think like I probably wouldn't be able to like ride Pietro across. The wind's just a little too crazy.
No, you'd be all right. Especially with your saddle, you think you'd be okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to describe it as it's particularly violent. Just closer to what you would expect like a heat updraft to be, except that this is just wind that is kind of hitting the walls and then being funneled upwards, essentially.
Would we be okay on the broom?
The broom would be a little bit harder because you're not really secured to it. So maybe, but it would be you'd have to try.
So essentially, it sounds like everyone can get across without problem, but Norak might have a little issue.
I'll tell you
Norak and Choke, Norak and Choke can't use the broom. It's not; they're too heavy. So you'd have to find a solution probably for them. But the broom's possible, but could incur a fall. It depends on how badly you roll.
I can
Pogo's going to
for one person if anyone wants to join me.
Well,
Pogo's going to fly across real quick on Pietro,
okay.
And then I'm going to, after I get to the other side and make sure that the footing is secure, I'm going to send Pietro back, and I'm just going to tell him if they try to cross and if they're having any issues or if they fall or something, try to catch them, and that's going to be what I'm doing.
Okay. All right, I'll say that in the event of a fall, will factor in.
I just realized something. Is it? Does it look perhaps like this was caused from like an avalanche?
Give me Arteme. Shit, I'm gonna say for Arteme, it's below the passive. It definitely does. Yeah. It looks like weight of the ice caused enough of a slide that it took a chunk off of essentially glacier.
As I'm flying across and I look and I see kind of a better view, when I get to the other side, I'm going to pull out my walkie-talkie and just whisper into it. So maybe we don't make too much noise, because that the whole mountain might just come down and cover us in snow.
Probably.
Just to let everyone know, pineapple.
All right, so are we climbing down and then climbing back up?
Well, you guys don't have to.
Well, I mean, we can use the broom, but he said it was dangerous. So
How many feet across is it?
About 40
Yeah.
feet directly
I
across.
got that, Jay.
Are there any plants on the other side, like trees and stuff?
About the same. There's, in fact, you can see bits of roots and everything that are sticking out of the wall, basically, and trees that are near both edges.
Okay, I'm gonna use weave plants 3 times to make the trees like lean over towards us, so we could just walk across like a bridge.
With them being tall, well, I don't think you'd be able to do that with weave. Not strong enough, let's say, with weave plants, because as heavy as like Norok with all of his gear on is 500 something pounds. Like he's carrying. Well, even the stuff that he's not carrying, he's not that heavy. Just that, but he's almost 8 feet tall. So by the time he gets to the near the top end of the tree, it would slip right out from under him and he'd go flinging off.
You guys could do that though. There's a way for Shoke and I to climb. I know there's some giants that live up in these mountains, and they usually have. I can see those, right, G?
Yeah,
Are they already in the wall?
somebody climbed it recently.
Okay. Well, I was looking around. I can see there's big titans that are big enough for Shoke and I already there, so he and I can climb, and you guys can just do whatever's safest to get you guys across. We'll go down and pop back up the other side. Looks like our path is already kind of set from the giants ahead of us.
Let me clarify though. They're only on the far side. They're not
Okay.
on the side that you're on.
Okay. But I think I have some in my stuff. Let me see.
I have
I
I have 2, but I'm not on your side anymore.
I actually don't have any on me. But
I have 4,
That's plenty.
and I still have my hammer.
Ironically, I'm like almost positive pythons are supposed to be used climbing up, not even really down as much.
They are. That's exactly. But he doesn't. What I'm saying is like that's why they're not on this side.
Exactly.
We could use one. Can't we use one to anchor the rope though?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
could
do
use
one
a
like
tree.
right at the top.
You could do. You could use anything you want to anchor it on this side. Which, like I said, there are trees on this side too. That Arteme was bending over to give you guys some extra stability.
Okay. That's what we.
And you've got Pietro who's ready to wisp down and at least try to cushion your fall should
Right.
you need it.
Then, if
Oh, he
that's your
could
guys'
tell.
plan,
He could tell you that too. He can come over there and go, "I can help a little bit." I'll
I say what? I say.
say. I'll say. You
It's
know what?
Foghorn
That should be
Yeah, he
canon
definitely
now.
should be. Yeah.
I'll say. I'll help you if you fall down the cliff.
Pietro is a southern gentleman with a fucking French name,
And he hates that little chicken hut.
a French Italian name. Yeah.
I'll tell you, boy.
All right, then who is rolling what? What's your guys' plan? So I mean, if that's what you're going to go with, that's fine. But who's going to make the check here to make this happen?
I don't know, but I'm waiting until after both Norok and Shoke go, so that way if they fall, I can use Featherfall to slow them down enough for Pietro to grab them.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
So
I got
the plan then, just to clarify, is you guys are going to tie a rope around a tree on this side. We'll just say a tree because it's easier. It's going to be more stable than a python. And climm down, you and Shoke, and then you're just going to walk over to the other side and then climb up the giant's rope that is already there. It's regular sized rope, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys. Ben or Norok recognized that the rope on the other side was styled in the size and style, let's say, of the giants live up here in the mountains, the frost giants.
I'll just say it again. I could just make a dimensional door, and one of us and myself can just walk across through the dimensional door.
I didn't hear you say that at all the first time, Sako.
Did I?
Yeah, I could just do a dimensional
Yeah.
door, and I can take one person that's my size or smaller with all your gear. We just walk through the dimensional door, and up to 200 feet, we can just walk across.
So you actually, is that dimension door that you're referring to? Because you have another one that is actually even better. Is that dimension door? Yeah, that is dimension door that you're talking about. Go up to your innate spellcasting area, and there's one up there that you haven't used before. That is
Arcane Gate.
Yeah. It's the same idea. Is the only reason I'm telling you this is that it's literally the same idea. This is just a better version.
Yeah, it's 500 feet. Okay, yeah, that was 500 feet, and you said it's only like 50 feet.
Yeah, it's 40 feet at max distance. Is that when you said it, Sako? Because I don't think anybody heard you
Yeah,
when you asked how close the distance was earlier.
Yeah, we could just do that. I could just run an arcane gate, and then that'll be it.
And everyone can go through it, or is it
No,
just
not-
you and one?
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to add it to the little chat box.
If you just click the dice in the top left corner, if you mouse over the far left side, you'll see the dice will change color. Just click that, and it'll put it in the chat. And then just when you click it, it'll pop up a box asking if you want to consume the spell slot. Uncheck that so that you don't waste the spell slot. In fact, actually, you can only do this once per day anyway, so it's not really a spell slot thing. But
Okay, I'll just uncheck the consume resource and just click cast spell just to see it.
yeah, there you go. So you create a linked You create linked teleportation portals that were made open for the duration. The duration is 10 minutes. Choosing 2 points on the ground that you can see, 1 point within 10 feet of you and another within 500 feet. A circular portal 10 feet of diameter opens at each point. The portal would open in the space occupied by a creature. That doesn't matter. Portals are two-dimensional glowing rings filled with mist hovering inches from the ground and perpendicular to the points you choose, meaning it'll be standing upright. Ring is visible only from the sides, your choice, which is the side that functions as the portal, meaning that they won't be able to see it from another direction, only from the side that you're going to walk through. Any creature or object entering the portal exit from the other, as if the two were adjacent to each other. Passing through a portal from the non-portal side has no effect. The mist fills each portal, is opaque and blocks vision through it. On your turn, you can rotate the rings as a bonus action. Basically, there'll be a wormhole from one side to the other, and anybody can walk through it for 10 minutes, in or out.
I think that's safer.
Nice.
I agree. That sounds amazing.
I can use that once per day, I believe, so I'll use that today.
Okay. Yep, it is once per day, and you get it back on a long rest. It's one of your Mystic Arcanum. All right, then with that, instead, nobody needs to climb back down, which means there's really not any checks needed for that. So what I'm going to do is, Nazim, as far as so for the skill check portion of it, what I'm going to do here, you are proficient in Arcana, right?
I believe so. Double check. Yes, I am.
Okay. The check is going to be a low DC because you can't particularly fail this, but it is a concentration spell. So the constant blizzard of pelting you in the face as you're trying to keep these portals open is going to be the challenge. So it will be, I'll let you choose. Either you can make an Arcana check, or you can make a concentration save or a Constitution save, which is a concentration check, is what that is. So you can choose either of those, whichever one works better for you. I'll say that you would have advantage if you're doing the Arcana check. Sorry, the concentration check.
Wait, hang on. So if he's doing this, instead of me putting the trees as a bridge, I would get the trees to lean towards him to block some of the wind.
Okay. All right. Then in that case, we'll give you advantage for either of them. Sako.
That spell doesn't make any noise, does it?
I will do Arcana then with
Okay.
advantage.
Okay. Go ahead and make the check. It's only a 12 you have to beat.
Do you guys want to take a break in a minute after that?
Yeah, I gotta
23.
pee.
All right. Then portal goes up. Everybody is able to very carefully shepherd to the other side. Everybody go ahead and take a quick 5.
Sweet.
That is another success. No failure so far.
Be
5
right
successes,
back.
no
Oh,
failure.
this is fine. I'm scared that the dragon's gonna show up here in a second, though. Ooh, if we run into giants, I would love to be the face of the party, and I'll chat with them for a while. That will be my contribution.
There you go. You can perform for the giants.
Oh, also, I realized what was happening when I was trying to answer earlier. I hit the wrong button. I didn't hit my push talk. I hit the button beside it.
No problem, Fox.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Sticky, where'd you go? Come on.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna move my mic. I got a little food I'm gonna eat, so I'm gonna move my microphone away. Tell me if it's awkwardly loud or something.
Yeah, no problem.
By the way, there's probably a ton of misspellings in that letter.
You got the name correctly. No, you didn't actually. One letter off. But I think actually, I don't remember if I ever actually. You probably did see the name because of the combat tracker. The name has one letter off. Yeah, I mean, nothing stands out. It all looks fine. Even if there were typos, it's minimal enough that nobody's going to notice.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if resummon was spelled right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, Leah made the tastiest, healthiest dinner tonight. It was literally I want to call it ghost broccoli, but that's not right. Cauliflower. It was cauliflower rice. Yeah, it's
Cauliflower is when broccoli dies. That's what it turns into.
So, have you guys seen Parks and Rec? There's an episode where at the farmer's market, and they're like, "Look at this! What is this? A little tree?" They pick up a piece of broccoli because they're like, one of the jokes is like their whole town is like so like obese and stupid that they just it's like, wow, look at this tiny tree. And then someone else, his wife, like picks up a piece of cauliflower. And she's like, oh no, this one's dead.
That's funny. Yeah, I've seen all of it except the last season. I think I told you about that before because I thought it was over. So I haven't seen the very last season, but I saw everything up to that. Good show. I've been rewatching The League actually recently.
Oh, that's a good show. Terrible
is.
last season. Absolutely terrible ending. Like it's just a dumb like they like worked so hard. It's like they like found out 4 episodes from the last one that the show was
really?
going to end. Yeah.
don't
Oh, have
thi-
you not seen the last season yet?
I
Or
don't
do
think
you
I
want
have actually. I think because I watched it while it was on for a long time, and then I might have been like the last 1 or 2 that I didn't see. It wasn't something that I kept up with regularly. I just would binge it, occasionally.
Yeah,
Until I
fair.
caught up.
So 2 nights ago, Thursday night, me and Leah were on a walk, and we found on our way back, we actually found a stray puppy.
Mhm.
And it's kind of funny. This is a story. We were walking up past these people's house where they were unloading their car with groceries. It was like 8:30 at night. And a little puppy, maybe 6 months old, but 20 pounds. Like it's a puppy, but it's a puppy for a mid-sized breed.
Sure.
Just kind of like does that puppy gallop up to us, and we're like, "Oh, hey, can we pet your puppy?" And they didn't really speak English, and so they looked at us. They were like, "Your puppy?" And I was like, "No, I mean, can we pet the puppy? Is that okay?" They're like, "Your puppy." No, your puppy? And they're like, "What?" And we're like, "Is this is your dog?" And they're like, "Is that your dog?" And we're like,
I guess it is now.
"Is this?" Yeah, we're like, eventually I was like, "So like, this isn't your dog?" And they're like, "No, we thought your dog." And I was like, "Oh no!" And then like, it's like, we can take it, I guess. They're like, and the wife's like, "Yes, we leave tomorrow. Can't take dog. We were going to tie up until someone
Until it
finds."
died? Jesus.
No, until they were going to just tie it up at the front of their house. But I'm like, yeah, that's not how things work in this country. But that's
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, we now have a temporary puppy. Super sweet. We put like 15 signs up all over the neighborhood. Put it on the Neighbors app, and we did it on
Oh,
the
in case it
Ring
actually
app,
is a
and we
lost
did it
dog.
on Facebook apps.
Yeah.
Well, it has no collar or anything, but like it's super well behaved. Like it's teething right now because it's that's probably about 6 months old.
Yeah.
So like and it's not that well potty trained.
Yeah.
But it's super friendly. One of the like most friendly puppies I've ever seen, and does an incredible job of healing. It just naturally walks right next to you. Like
What-
even if
what
we can
breed
go
do we
outside. I don't
Just
know.
by
I would
appearance.
say here. I'll send a picture to the chat. Do.
Don't shake your head at me.
But like I would be. It clearly has lived with people.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, a puppy
Also-
doesn't survive very long as a stray. So.
Ben just gave me the look like if no one claims it and they don't want it, you can't have it.
No, this is. We've already had people like, we'll take it, but you want to go through the right channels because like someone still might be looking for it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring it to the SPCA under like if no one adopts it, we'll adopt it. But dude, puppies are. So I have a medical thing where I can't get like. I'm not supposed to play with dogs too closely. Like if they scratch me or something, like I can't fight off bacterial infections.
Yeah.
And puppies, like I'm scratched to shit right now, and I'm like, well, I might lose an arm. We'll fucking see. But like it just wouldn't work. If we ever adopt another dog too, it's probably going to be like a
Get to be an
3-year-old one or older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leah's never had a puppy. She didn't realize that puppies, like we put her in a kennel the first night, and it shit in the kennel. I'm like, yeah, that's what fucking. Because who knows how? I have no true idea how old this dog is. But like, yeah, this is what having a dog is like sometimes for a puppy. But other than that, super good dog. Didn't poop in the kennel last night, which is neat.
As long as you take them out before, and then again in the middle of the night, depending on their age, then they shouldn't. They
Yeah, I
don't
think
want
that's
to
the.
by default, anyways. I've crate trained all my dogs.
Well, since this is only the second night in the crate, I think now maybe she's like, oh, this is actually where I'm like sleeping. I get it.
Yeah,
Like
it could be.
it takes
Yeah.
them a while to realize that is there where they're supposed to actually go.
Yeah.
Here, I'll use these 2 pictures.
Is everybody back?
Yeah.
There you go.
Box is back. Taco, you back? Okay. All right. So for the sake of time, because I had a lot more that I wanted to get to tonight, so I don't think we're going to be able to get that far.
Oh my god, that is the cutest puppy ever.
Yeah, sweetheart too.
Chocolate lab and
Something.
some kind of shepherd maybe is by the coloration, I would say. By the ears will probably stand up because that's
And it's
that's
got a
basically how a
super
German shepherd
long
looks.
tail.
Yeah, that is a little. Looks a little monkeyish. Has a very
Maybe
cute
Right?
body.
greyhound.
It doesn't have the rib cage of a greyhound.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe, but
Well, even if it's a mix, it might
yeah,
not.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could be any number of things, but very cute pup.
Nice, nice dog too. So if we had the option for a puppy, we'd take it. But
Yeah.
we'll be a last case scenario. So I'm sure this dog will be fine.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Get back to
Becky,
it.
the response you get, so you said, well, just for narrative reasons, we'll say that you sent that, a couple of days ago, and the response you got was
Long
that.
after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been basically while Pogo was recuperating back at the Crow Fort. The response you got is, "My apprentice, your wrath, while understandable, is misplaced. Your understanding, while quaint, is frivolous. Though I grieve for the loss of my dear Kamazoth, he was but a beast, a tool that can be replaced. My investment in you, however, is a heavier cost, one that is much harder repaid. When should I expect your arrival at the Tower of High Arcanum at Hyrith?" And his name.
All right. I'll figure out a response. Send it to
Sure.
you later.
Okay. Then back where we left off, guys. Everybody makes it out of the portal on the other side with no difficulty whatsoever. That said, you have been traveling through the snow for quite some time. It is certainly sinking into your bones at this point. The unnatural chill is now past the point at which it is normal, let's say, for the Yogg. Ben, meaning that at this point on, you will no longer have advantage, but in cases where everyone else may have disadvantage, you probably still won't. So it'll still be easier for you, but the DC now is 24. Everybody give me your con saves.
It's physically impossible, but I will. Hurry up.
Right now, Norak has one and Shok has one, and that's it. So. All right, so Nazim has one, Arteme will have one, Sarah will have one, Pogo will have one. Never mind, 20, not 24. 21. Everybody's got another one. So Norak, you're back to 2. Everybody else has 1. Thankfully, you guys have been able to get decent rests in. Without the treehouse, you never would have. So this isn't like snowballing, pardon the pun here, into a worse situation. But Norak back at 2. Everybody else at 1. And the travel continuing on. The kind of constant trudge through the snow is becoming a mental problem also at this point, just because of this kind of ever-present blur in your eyes and in your ears is just not just snow blindness, but also like deafness almost, and is
how much
taking its
farther
toll
so
for
we
sure.
can go down to the hill? How much farther?
Norak, you feel like you should be reaching the kind of apex point at which you'll be going down slope towards the road, and you probably will be able to see the road like tomorrow morning, you think. If tomorrow maybe midday or so, you'll be able to see it, after some travel.
Or hear me out. We just slide all the way down. Just slide it.
Good idea. Big giant snowball.
We'll figure it out. We can make, between all of us, we've got to be able to make some sort of slide.
Norak, you know that there's a canyon coming up soon. You're gonna be on the other side of this. You're gonna hit the canyon, which is gonna be, you're gonna have to go down into this kind of bowl for a couple of hours and then up the other side again. But it's at least, well, it's relatively level throughout that canyon, so you won't be going uphill at least. Not downhill either, but at least it won't be uphill. But a couple of hours later into this trek, this is at this point probably around probably 4 in the afternoon. You still traveling along, and there's this kind of upward slope. You see up ahead, so whoever might be scouting, if Pietro was up ahead, or Norak would spot it before long too, just for the kind of telltale disturbance in the snow, you see a what looks like essentially an explosion in the snow. Not currently exploding, but the results of, let's say. And what you see there is the remains of this. So you see shards of ice that are scattered across the ground at an intersection of this area here that you're trying to travel up, and in the middle, where this kind of blast would have been, lays an enormous blue-white segmented worm with hundreds of legs all along the midsection of the body. It's a corpse. It's dead, with dozens of legs and these kind of wing-like fins near its head. And the back of the worm is just kind of glowing faintly red, where you can see, and steam is rising away from the body. It's not moving. It Arteme, you're sure that it's dead. You of course recognize what it is. It is the stupid name that I gave you previously, the Remoras. It is the body of one, and the entire area is covered in like splinters of ice, sharp little shards, little chunks of ice, just that are pelted, like just stuck in all, like this body's just covered the way that the thing where people put needles in
what
people.
did that? You know what did that? That was a dragon, guys.
Acupuncture?
I bet a dragon did
Thank
that.
you. Thanks, Fox. Acupuncture. It looks like the body's just covered in acupuncture needles that are made of ice in all directions, and in the snow all the way around it as well. Go ahead.
Does it look fresh like this? Just
Yeah, it looked like this happened within the last hour or maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, we need to get out of here, Pogo.
Need that. Well, I mean, is this thing? Does it look like it's been eaten at all?
No, it looks like it was in a fight with something and lost, maybe.
Right.
But something happened, and it's filled with like ice needles, and they're all in the snow all around. There's this giant blast radius that's covered in ice. Like, the trees have ice needles stuck in them. All are big, probably 30-foot radius all the way around. A huge blast.
I'm gonna try to use my my hat again, which I believe I still have equipped, to make myself look like a small shrub, like a tree. It's like, and I'm gonna run. I'm gonna walk like 10 feet ahead of 20 feet ahead of everyone else.
Like the hat, I don't think you can disguise yourself as shrubbery. I think it has to be like
clothing that looks like shrubbery.
Okay, all right, fine. You want to call it a ghillie suit? Fine, that's fair.
What am I looking for? No.
Well, that's fine. We can call it. We can say that it's a ghillie suit. You're not going to look like branches, but you can look like camouflage. That's fine. But so that's what you see. So you guys have to basically you're in not a an arroyo.
Is it a green one so he sticks out really well in the white snow?
It's whatever color that I want it to be. It's the color of a small pine tree. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. I'm just going to change it to be a pure white. I'm just like covered in a pure white snowness, so you can only see my face,
Right.
my eyes.
I
look like one of those. I look like something. I look like a combination between like one of the stormtroopers and then like a KKK guy. Just right in there, right in the middle somewhere. Okay. All white.
All right, then you guys are approaching this. You can see it kind of, not far. We'll say that you're 100 feet away from this, but it is in the word I'm going to say is arroyo, but that would be in a desert. It's basically cliffs on either side of you that go up quite a ways. Let's say, probably not necessarily feasible to go up to climb up the walls, anyways. But you're in kind of walking with walls on either side of you, like a. Arroyo is the actual word, but that would be in a desert. I think I don't think that would apply in the icy mountains. But anyways, walls on either side of you, and you have to walk past this with this explosion in the middle of it. What are you guys doing?
I am going to just jump on. I'm actually just going to try to run past.
Okay.
I don't like this entire area. I'm just going to run past. I'm going to tell Pietro to fly 20, 30 feet ahead of me and keep an eye out for anything crazy. I'm going to book it through this area.
Okay.
Sarah and ask if she wants to fly on the broom.
Yep, that sounds great.
Okay. Then Sarah, as you bring out the broom and Arteme starts to climb on it, you see Pogo running as fast as he can through the pretty dense or pretty
it looks like a marshmallow.
High snow. Well, not just your appearance, but also that your footfalls, the snow is up past your knees, so it's pretty difficult to run in snow that high. Goes just booking past you as fast as he possibly can, which isn't very fast, but he does his best. And Nazim and Norak, what are you guys doing?
How big is that creature?
How big is what?
The creature? How big was that creature?
The Remoras? If it were like stretched out, for full length, it's 25 feet in length, maybe. It tapers off near the end. It's kind of looks a mixture between insectoid and snake-like. I'll find a picture for you guys here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to run past too.
Okay.
I don't want to be out in that clearing.
Okay.
When we start going across, I'm just going to look back at Nazim and say, "Don't try to skin it. Just go."
I was actually thinking about using a force cage on the thing and locking it down.
Oh shit! Why is that? I think that's text. That's not text. Oh, because the link is text. Can I do this another way? I'll just find a better picture. All right, then in that case, I think Norok would pretty rapidly overtake you, Pogo, if he's trying to run as well to get past it. So you see Norok trudging, kind of kicking up snow and running past you. Norok, give me a dex, a dex save, DC 14.
Did you guys want me to force cage it?
Oh, sorry,
No,
go ahead.
why would you? It's dead.
I don't know if it's even moving still.
Yeah, you might want to wait until that whatever killed it shows up.
There's a couple images of them. There you go. All right, so running as fast as you can. Did you roll your dex save, Sako or Ben?
There we go.
Okay.
Was that? Or no, it's if I fail, I can roll again. Sorry, I'll roll again. Yeah, that ring
Also,
that I have.
it's also saved on a check.
Oh, sorry.
Check.
Or what? Why would you be able to roll it again if you failed?
That ring that I have, I'll have to go look at it again. If I fail,
Oh, the ring of
I can
evasion?
re-roll or something like that.
Yeah. Do you still have that attuned, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And that's if I can see it coming, though. Is this something that I can,
Well,
see
so
coming or whatever?
well, we'll see here.
All right.
You running as fast as you can. The space beneath you. Honestly, I think you're okay with the 18 anyways, in that you have time enough to react, let's say. The running through the snow as fast as you can, as soon as you get to the kind of end radius, you can't even see the ice crystals here because they were too small and they've been covered in a thin layer of powder. But as soon as you step into kind of the edges, let's say, of the blast radius surrounding this thing, your foot goes down into the snow and immediately you are thrown forward, an explosion sending you upwards through the air. You go careening.
I'm gonna stop
up
immediately
through...
when I see that. By the way.
Well, I was gonna say, so the reason that I said that is whoever was running first, because Pogo was ahead, but I think Pogo, especially with being so short, that Norok would quickly outpace you. So Norok, you go sailing through the air with this explosion underfoot, and distance-wise, what's that?
How high up does he end up making it?
With the so think of it like a springboard beneath the snow is kind of the appearance, except there is a boom. There's a loud boom, and the snow just kind of erupts beneath his foot. It clearly looks like it probably hurts some, but he goes sailing through the air, probably 15, 20 feet up. But more importantly, the forward momentum carrying him further forward, and then landing face first into the ice. Ben, I'm going to give you a chance to react with an acrobatics here because you
Wait.
are still. Go ahead.
Before he does that, is he within 60 feet?
I guess if you Artemay got on the broom and you guys immediately went after. I would say that you probably didn't rush after him too fast in the broom. You wouldn't have expected that necessarily. So I mean, give me a roll of percentile dice and get above a 70.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, so not within range. You see this explosion happen. He goes sailing through the air. Hang on. For the explosion, Ben, it is 36 damage from the blast under your foot, and more importantly, the place where you land, even with momentum, is not outside the radius, meaning you are kind of falling face first into the snow that is similarly filled with these explosive crystals. And with the acrobatics, I'm going to say with a 20, you're able to probably lessen this by curling yourself into a ball as best you can, kind of expecting with your danger sense that what's going to happen here is going to happen again. And sure enough, you kind of curl yourself into a ball and then smack into the snow. Immediately it erupts again, sending you further. Another explosion, and I'll say that it's only 2 this time since you half damage essentially for the deck save there, for another 10 damage. G, as you go blasting off to the other side, so kind of blowing for the explosion from the first part, and then cannonball off the other head, and then off to the other side, and now out of the radius, away from this creature and the explosive ice crystals.
No one move! What's happening? What just happened? And I'm
You
also
see-
immediately looking for like, is there any rumble that sounds like snow is about to like collapse down on us, or does it seem like
Well,
it's
funny you should say such a thing because
Odd.
the explosions rattle the kind of the sides of this little mountain pass that you guys are in, and there is immediately a kind of a deluge of snow coming down from both sides, and of course as soon as it hits the ground, which does take a few seconds, you kind of have a moment to see Nora kind of standing up and kind of rubbing his head a little bit and kind of checking his knee to make sure his leg is still there where the blast was. Kind of like that, Sako. Yeah, I mean, he didn't stand on the landmine, but same idea, yeah. That was where he stood on the landmine, isn't it?
Yep.
In Kingsman 2,
Yeah.
where he stands on the landmine and then blows himself up, or blows up all the bad guys. Kind of like that, yeah. Anyways, you kind of see him standing up and kind of checking for wounds and everything as the snow is caving in from both sides of this mountain here. As soon as the snow hits the ground near the explosion from the creature there, it similarly blasts and rattles the wall and sends just this constant deluge of snow that is beginning to fill the arroyo that you're in, and you don't know if it'll stop anytime soon, but you've got to get out of here fast.
well, I'm just going to have Pietro try to come pull me out.
Well, hang on. Before we go any further here, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is your skill check now. So go ahead and decide very quickly amongst the group here. Now that you've seen what happened with Norok there, everybody decide what your plan is on how you're going to get everybody to the side, and then we'll decide on what the skill check is. So go quick.
I can do a little dance.
Everybody's gone now, by the way. So
Does
you can essentially start over again.
Does the avalanche look like I could intimidate it, perhaps?
I don't think so. I don't think you can
Okay.
talk the snow down. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you. I'm just gonna tell the whole group. The only thing I can really do here is I'm proficient in acrobatics. If that seems like something we could use.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I'm proficient in Arcana, History, Insight, and Persuasion, so I've got nothing for snow.
Well,
I have survival, sleight of hand, nature, athletics, and animal handling.
so this is what I'm thinking. I could use acrobatics to try to jump and avoid some of the snow that's falling around me and get on top of that massive creature, and basically use acrobatics to just get out of the precarious situation, fling myself up on this body and actually reanimate the different parts of the body using my spell to basically become objects that I can use to just move and like pull everyone out of the snow as it's going, and I can use the legs of those what's left on them to kind of walk around on top of the snow and kind of as long as everyone holds on to them.
Just real quick, let me
Pickle Rick method, huh?
Rick.
I'm going to point something out just real quick. I will go ahead and describe it this way. It was clear that something exploded that killed the Remoras. The Remoras was not the source of the ice crystals, the explosive crystals. Something blew up, which killed the Remoras. Yeah. Does that make sense? Everybody got that right? So
yeah.
So by pointing this out, because of something that Pogo had said there, the blast radius covers everything in this area, but something that was in the area that has, say, a front or a back, or like a top and the bottom, like, for example, the underside of the Remoras probably doesn't have those ice crystals. So do with that what you may, but that's what I'm pointing out, is that basically some surfaces here are not covered in those ice crystals. So go ahead.
So that's why I think if the Remora... Let me double check, because I think the items actually float. Let me hit this and not use my spell slot real quick.
Oh, as far as so animate objects, I was kind of bending it a little bit in that it would affect a tree, because a tree is technically a creature. But in this case, I'll say that a body is is no longer a creature and is now an object. So that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, it just hovers. Flying speed of 30 feet per second. So yeah, I could do this. I can use my acrobatics proficiency to avoid getting sucked into some of this snow and use it to kind of backflip myself up onto the portions of the dead body before they get covered, and cast animate objects because you said it's kind of separated, right? Like it's in pieces ish.
It's badly damaged. It's not in a whole bunch of separate pieces, but there are chunks that are not fully attached anymore.
It wouldn't really make a huge difference. It's smaller than a huge object, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I could use animate object to kind of use that as an object and move it around to, as long as everyone grabs onto it, except for Norak, who is feet away. So that's probably the best I could do, and then I could have Pietro try to help with Norak. Does that work for everybody?
That's fine. Me and Artemis are on the broom, so technically we can fly over the avalanche.
How about I could just do this for Shok and Norak? Well, don't be under the thing then, buddy.
The dog.
Sorry, yeah, it was right under my chair.
Okay.
And then that's acrobatics. That's the only thing I can think of that'll really help for me doing something.
Gotta go quick. Is that the plan, everybody?
Yeah, you're gonna grab Norak on the way.
Yeah, because he's
If
probably
anything, Norak
within-
should grab him.
Yeah.
But his acrobatics is the question here. So he's going to kind of dance flip
I'm
his
going
way
to
over the
use
creature.
acrobatics to
Yeah.
backflip, cartwheel, and fucking Japanese anime my ass to the body, and then animate the body using my spell.
Okay. All right. Because of the downpour of snow and the kind of snow now, the when I say downpour, I don't mean the regular snow. I mean the like avalanche that's collapsing in on you. You doing your best to kind of run up the falling snow like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style is going to be very difficult. I will say that you will make it with a flat roll. You still have your exhaustion to deal with, so it'll be a minus a d4. So flat roll minus a d4. Your DC is an 18.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
All right, guys,
No question.
let's do this
I
shit.
mean, running up falling snow. I think that's hopefully pretty. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
No, because that's not with my D4 minus.
Oh shit! All right, so,
So,
that is
yeah.
that's
So it's
automatically a
under.
failure.
Yep.
Reroll. I have not used any
Oh, really?
in a very long
All
time.
right, let's try it.
You know what? Okay, so I would say at this point, if Sarah is following behind Pogo as he's running after, then she would be within range because it's 30 feet, so it's not a very
Yeah.
far range.
I mean, we're on the
So-
broom, so.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
if
that's
we're on the
fine.
broom, I'm gonna throw down a rope for Pogo to grab onto to help him like lift up a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, the chronal shift will let him re-roll at least. So go ahead and
Yeah,
re-roll.
let's
Are
see.
we allowed to cast anything at this point, or is it just
No,
Oh
they're
my
French
God.
toast.
So specifically, Sako, in a normal situation,
Hey,
yes, but for game
It's okay to
rules
fail.
here- yeah,
You can
in
fail.
in basically in a normal thing, yes, Sako. It's just that this is the kind of the skill challenge thing is kind of its own little subset of rules, if that makes sense. Which is the same reason you can't use the same thing twice and that kind of thing. So that is our first failure. Which is a particularly disastrous one, unfortunately. But we'll get to that in just a second. And one thing I just wanted to point out is that I neglected this, and this is my fault. So we're not going to rewind to recon or retcon anything here. But Nazim went twice in a row.
Oh, really?
Well, he did the perception to find the Remora's tunnel, and then the Arcana check to get an arcane gate from one side of the gap to the other. Not your fault, Sako. I should have remembered it there, anyways. Just remember. So Nazim went twice. I was thinking that was one for everybody, but it was, Sarah, then Norak, then Artem. No, Sarah, Arteme, Norak, Nazim. So Sako, you can't do any more for the whole skill challenge because it has to be, at least one for everybody, no more than two. So you won't be able to do any of the actual challenges. You can still help with stuff like that, though. The reason I'm saying that is to point out the question of you asked whether you can still cast something to try to help out there. So, anyways, again, we're not gonna rewind and then undo that or anything. It's just Sako's already used his two. Essentially, is how we'll treat it. But the explosion of these collapsing ice crystals blasting out from under Pogo's feet sends him sailing through the sky, smacks into the side of the wall on the far side, and then goes careening face first down towards the snow. You'll have just barely a time for a reaction, Pogo, if you're going to do anything.
For a reaction, I'll still cast. What am I? Is there anyone around me?
Arteme and Sarah are on a broom not too far behind you. They're also caught in the blast of this explosion of what just happened because they were close enough within 30 feet for her to do that, meaning that they're also hit by this blast of snow.
Oh,
Thankfully, they're being blasted away from the ice. You're going into it.
yeah.
So-
I don't have like a reaction that would really help. So,
Okay.
nope. I'm just flying through the fucking air,
Then
yelling at
you-
Pietro to grab me if you can.
Okay. Roll the
Just being
percentile
right there.
dice. It's gonna for him to be close enough is gonna be real. I doubt it. So we'll just call it a 90. Yeah, with the 3, not gonna happen.
Three?
You Similar
We need that
to
kind of rolling for divine intervention.
yeah, really. You tucking yourself into a ball, just like you saw Norok do, as you sail down towards the ground. Unfortunately, a halfling-sized ball doesn't offer much protection. The blast explodes again. You took 31 damage from the first blast as you smash into the snow, immediately erupting you back forward, back upward again, and towards the other side. Not within like catching distance of Norok, but basically towards the other side of the gap there, taking another 19 for a total of 50 damage to Pogo from the explosions.
Do Arteme
I'm
and I
beat
take
up.
the 31?
So yeah, actually, you will both take the 31, and both of you make dex saves to see if you can hold onto the broom.
Oh, no.
Taco was still at this point. I mean, he hadn't run up with you guys, so he's far enough back to not get hit by the blast. Or
Ugh.
Nazim, rather.
I'm off the broom. I have to be.
Yeah, with the 10, definitely. Well, not only are you both just sailing through snow, like you're head over heels, like just you can't see anything other than just white in all directions until you careen into this powder. No falling damage because the snow itself, thankfully, is relatively soft thanks to the recent blizzard. So you're not taking any damage from it. But both of you kind of stand up, kind of get your head up out of the snow. Arteme, you're upside down in the snow. You have to kind of right yourself and then climb your way back out and look around.
Remember, guys, if you don't know where up is, spit, and then go the opposite way the spit goes.
Yeah, Pogo says through a broken arm
Pineapple.
and probably 4 ribs. But Sarah and Arteme, both of you stand up and look around, and you don't see the broom anywhere.
Oh, shit.
What's Nazim doing, Taco?
Kind of frantically looking around at this point. Best thing he could do is just trudge through as fast as possible towards the
What you're looking at right now is a constant explosion. It's just explosion after explosion after explosion because the snow keeps falling and keeps hitting other ice crystals. So it's just like you can't even see the other side anymore. It's just a bunch of blasts of snow.
All right, so essentially it's the mousetrap theory. 10,000 mousetraps on a floor, and they're all going
Yes, there you go. Exactly that. Yeah.
Sweet.
Presumably until the ice crystals stop, which I mean they you know I'll go ahead and tell you that if you watch for long enough, it'll probably slow down at some point until it's all buried in snow. But for right now, Pogo is badly injured on the far side with Norok. Sarah, Arteme. Well, no, Nazim, you saw Sarah and Arteme go flinging through the air, over your shoulder until they landed in the snow behind you.
All right, and I can't use any spells or anything like that. This is just more of an action.
No, you can. No, the challenge is done. You guys can do whatever you want now. You failed it, but the challenge is done. What'd you say, G?
Now that we got blown across the other side, we took the hard way.
Exactly.
Am I close to anyone?
Arteme and Sarah are 15 feet behind you.
Arteme and Sarah? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll do the best I can then. I'll just move 5 feet behind me. So I'm within 10 feet of Arteme and Sarah. And I will cast Wall of Force with my staff, creating the kind of like a half sphere of protection around us.
Okay. What are you doing with that? Are you guys walking together? Okay, I see. You can move with it, right?
No, essentially we're going to wait out these explosions.
Oh, okay.
And hunker down.
Okay.
Within the Wall of Force inside.
All right. Then you, as you're
movies inside that little bubble. That.
Yeah, I think you can. Pretty sure you can have it curved or whatever, like arched.
Yeah, it's like a little bubble.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to check something there. All right. So Sarah, Arteme, as you're kind of peering around, looking for where the broom may be, Nazim kind of approaches you and holding the staff up in the air, puts this kind of you've seen this in The Witcher and pretty much any other video game, holds a bubble up that is just being constantly pelted with snow that is similarly exploding in some places where an ice crystal's been dislodged and then impacted the shield and blowing up. But you are all protected from it, and you're hitting that over and over again. Sako, are you trying to mark off charges or something? No, you're fine. You can just change the number. It's fine too. Down to whatever number of charges it took there. Was that 10 charges for
10 minutes?
How many charges does it take for you to do Wall of Force?
I'm looking at it now.
Go ahead and mark it off either way, whatever the charges are, unless it's 10. If it's 10, then we need
I'm
to
trying to figure out how to mark it off.
I can help you with it. Anyway, so these kind of constant blasts slowly abate.
Charges.
You're fine. It still takes probably a good solid minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for the space between to clear of all the kind of slow drift of snow coming down from the top. But the explosions have stopped, and you guys can see to the other side where Pogo is looks injured, looks pretty in that rough shape, and both of them technically do. And Norak are on the other side.
Question. When we fell off the broom, did it seem like the broom went in the same direction as us or the opposite direction?
Both of you, if you're having this conversation with Arteme, both of you give me intelligence checks.
Alright, intelligence isn't terrible.
I'm gonna ask Sai to help look for the broom too.
Okay.
Ugh.
Go ahead and
wanna
roll it
move.
again. It'll be with advantage. Basically, Fox said it would be with advantage anyway, so go ahead and roll yours a second time for Sai assisting. There it is. So I'll go ahead and find it. Yeah, you found it. It was 6 charge. Yeah, you did it right. Everything's good. Try as you might, she's diving in and out of the snow as best you can, and you guys are now that the explosions have stopped, you're able to kind of peer around as best you can and dig through this new layer that you guys have essentially created of relatively soft powder because it's been blasted to smithereens, and you're not finding it.
Oh no. We lost the broom.
Asio broom. No, wrong game. Oh, I'm so sore. I don't want to move. I'm scared to move.
Yeah, I
Ice
don't
is
have
exploding.
any way to locate it, so.
You don't have any way of finding it?
No, I don't have like a locate object spell or anything. So I'm. Yeah.
I kind of look side-eyed at Arteme.
Yeah, no.
Seriously. Actually, where am I? Like, so are me and Norak like on the opposite side? Or are we still over by the rest of the group?
No, you're on the far side.
All right.
But it is.
I'm
I mean, the explosions have stopped, so you could try.
I'm
coming
going
back
to
across.
not move, and I'm going to have Pietro come and just pull me out of the snow, and just go put me back with the rest of the group, far away from this danger noodle.
Are we on the side that we're supposed to be on, or did we get pushed back where we started?
You guys
You're
got
on the
black.
starting
You,
side.
Sarah, Nazim, and Arteme are on the starting side. Pogo and Norak, who had tried to run across the explosions with the momentum, sent them across to the other side. With a lot of pain involved on the travel, but
That is not right.
Where's Choke?
Shok is still back with Nazim. He didn't try to run through.
Great.
Hey,
Hmm.
Shok, did you by any chance see where that went? That broom?
He looks down at you and begins to kind of bring his hand towards his throat, and then just sets it lowers it back
You can
down
point.
again.
You can point. It's fine if you saw it, or just nod your head. Left and right means no. Up and down means yes. Don't go too far on the back.
He kind of turns away from you and kind of looks, like he's just kind of looking through the snow. He does have proficiency, so it would be plus 11. That can't be right. Ben, what's yours? What's your survival?
Let me see.
The modifier? Because you guys' proficiency bonus is, 4 right now, I think, right? And then your
My
survival?
modifier is plus 5 on my survival.
All right, so it'd be 9. All right, so he's better at it than Norak is. I'll go ahead and call it 11. He got a
Wait.
natural 1.
Reroll it. Reroll.
Okay,
You know what?
all right.
Just reroll that. Go ahead and take another hard look. Now think about it. Really
except-
think about it. A few
except-
seconds ago.
Except Pogo is on the far side, and
But I
is it-
can make him do it. Because I
Did
have
you-
one left.
Okay, you have 2 per day. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Because this didn't happen. This isn't him remembering. This is as it happened. I was
Yes,
anywhere
this
near.
is-
Yeah,
yeah, exactly,
That makes
yeah.
more sense.
Well, you couldn't make him re-roll it anyways, but because you're too far away, for
Yeah.
the re-roll, you'd have to.
Oh,
be
I
closer.
was forgetting that at this point I hadn't gone back to the rest of the group with Pietro.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is when they're still looking for the broom there. But
Mhm.
although I guess technically you could have come across too. But shit, never mind. Actually, you were. Sorry.
No,
Sarah,
no,
go ahead.
because I wasn't there when he would have seen the broom get knocked, and that's when the perception check was actually part of it.
No, because specifically you said that you came back over and were talking to him and were standing next to him, and that's when he turned around and looked. So it wasn't his remembering; it's him looking around and looking at the blast and then saying, "Okay, well," and he points in a direction over there, and you don't see anything except a disturbance in the snow.
All right, so
So Sarah, go ahead and undo. Yeah, you have your chronal shift back.
Sweet.
Assuming that Pogo wanted to use his reaction for that because his is unlimited. So
Yeah, I could just use my reaction. I mean, either one.
Yeah, well,
I was
then
just gonna.
save mine for if you're not close to.
All right, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and what was your vantage choke? Do you point? Can you point somewhere?
he did. He pointed in the distance a little bit. It's basically blasted way off to one side, so not even the direction you guys would have been looking. Kind of around this stone wall that created this arroyo that you were in. And sure enough, there's a disturbance in the snow there. Arteme, you kind of trudging over there carefully, being extra careful with each step in case there's more exploding crystals beneath your feet. But thankfully, you make it there, and there were none, and you do find the broom a little worse for wear. It might be a little more snapped dug down the center spine of it, where it's already kind of broken at the end. It's kind of a little bit further broken. But other than that, it does seem to be intact, and you do kind of grab it and begin to float it, and it still floats. It seems like it's fine.
Okay. I'll give it good clean up all the snow.
Okay.
Hold on, and I'm gonna pull out my Iskall Strida spoiled, and I'm gonna go ahead and just chug that fucker.
Fox the broom is shivering when you do that.
Okay.
It seems scared.
Let's see, Constitution save.
It's
Does
scared
Sako-
'cause I'm taking the snow off?
Does Sako know that the broom is alive? No, it's scared. It's scared because it just got exploded. It just got blown up.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try and calm it a bit.
Okay. I think we used animal handling for that before.
Yes.
I don't remember if Sako knew that the broom was alive, so that probably sounded weird when I told him the broom was shivering, but
Just hug it. It worked last time.
Yeah, I'm gonna hug it and yeah.
While you guys are doing this and trying to calm the broom down, Pogo is retching violently into the snow.
This actually feels better. It's good to just get out some better.
This kind of causing this echo of his retching sounds of him vomiting into the kind of cavernous arroyo pathway ahead of you. But it does seem that his wounds may be not as bad as he initially thought.
Oh, I feel better. I feel better. I feel a bit better now.
Arteme, the broom seems fine. You seem to have calmed it down.
Okay.
Right,
But
so-
the pass is now clear, and that all of the ice crystals that were there have stopped exploding. In that you feel like you could probably walk through it now if you needed to, without it blowing up anymore.
Okay, that's good to know. So for the talk about the broom, I'm just gonna kind of like bunny hop to the eggs I have. If I feed one and leave it near the broom, like every time, like we rest and stuff, would we have a second broom?
All right, I love the idea. So just to kind of fill Sako in and to remind everybody here, the broom is actually a mimic. Arteme and the whole group except for Pogo wasn't with it at the time. Actually, so it was Norok, Sarah, and Arteme went into a dungeon where there were a bunch of mimics in there, including some mimic eggs, which are gold coins. So you've seen occasionally, just for retconning this in here a little bit, you've seen Arteme occasionally feeding some gold coins, which literally is just taking a gold coin and slapping it against something like a piece of meat or a fruit, against an apple or something, and the gold coins just stick to it like a sticker, and that's how they eat essentially. But anyways, these larvae. These mimic larvae, these gold coin shapes, whatever they are in contact with most often is what they assume the form of as they grow. So what she was just saying is that if she takes the gold coin and sticks it to the broom, if it will eventually become a broom on its own.
I would feed it to I would feed it to try and make it turn into a broom, but
Sure.
yeah.
Does that make sense, Sako?
Oh, umami flavor tastes weird coming back.
Well, you had those berries too, so it had a little extra sweetness.
That makes sense. That was blood.
So I like the idea, Fox. You'll have to keep tracking it. For a long. It doesn't happen overnight, obviously. So it's something you'd have to.
Yeah, I know, but I would keep doing it every time we rest. I just keep
Okay.
forgetting to mention it.
Sure. All right, then. There's no way we're going to be able to get through to the stuff that I was hoping to today, but we still have other challenges to finish. You still have to make 8 successes, which means you need 3 more successes before you get 2 more failures. Everybody understands that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Disaster happens if you get 3 failures first. So
We face a dragon, and then we all die.
well, you guys kind of do know what the disaster might be because of specifically the the constant hints that you've been getting for a few sessions here. But the situation you guys find yourselves in, you do make your way over this kind of explosive little valley that you were in, and continue on your way. This will be let's see. I mean, you were already. Go ahead.
When we start leaving, I'm gonna send Noctua up just to keep an eye out if anything reacted to those explosions.
Okay. It's difficult to see when she gets too high, similar to Pietro or anything else. So basically, as soon as you start getting up too high, you can't really, you lose a lot of visibility being in the middle of the snowstorm. Everything just looks white, essentially. So for her to actually see much, normally an owl would have advantage on perception checks for vision. I think vision and sound of both, if I remember right. But it's going to be a flat roll for her because it's just too bad for her to be able to have advantage on that. So go ahead and give me a perception check for Noctua with just a regular roll. There's less seeing anything, but there is something very large, which you can all gather what it must be, that she can hear batting, or like its wings beating far to the northwest. Maybe
Like-
2 days to the northwest.
All right, I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like
the only reason
dragon
that she's even hearing is
that
because
way.
the booming sounds are echoing down the mountain, and she can just barely pick it up.
All right, but it doesn't seem like it's getting closer. It's just up there.
She would need to be listening for longer to tell. At least right now, it's moving, but whether it's moving in any particular direction, she can't tell.
All right, maybe we should hurry up and get out of this area just in case it comes this way.
That said, especially after the kind of slowdown from the injuries and Norak being moving at half pace here because he's at 2 exhaustion, you guys can't move very fast, and nighttime is rapidly approaching.
I'm gonna get on my friend Pietro. Come join me, my friend.
I mean, I can always turn Norak into a mammoth, and we could just all ride him.
I'm still gonna be, probably moving a bit slow.
Yeah, but he'd have the speed then of the mammoth, because the mammoth doesn't take the exhaustion, does it?
Yeah, you still would.
Really?
In that,
Here
I'm going to use freedom of movement on him.
that would remove the speed penalty.
Why
Let
don't
me
you
check. Let me see. That may not be necessary, Fox. I would think that it would, but because you do take the stats of the creature, let me Google it real quick here. Polymorph. Somebody has to have had this question before.
Do you guys, real quick while we're pausing, do you guys like the smell of mothballs?
I don't know
Like
if I know.
mothballs?
You mean like the stuff that you use to prevent moths? 'Cause I don't know if I
Yeah.
smell either one, actually, to be fair. So
I was just wondering how you
Yeah,
guys get their legs apart because I'm having a lot of trouble in my house.
God damn it. Oh, that was dumb. I took it as a real question, and then I fell into your dumb joke trap.
You fell into my dumb joke trap. Yeah, that's pretty much my life.
For traps.
I can't see where it says on the spell, just that they can't use their
So
equipment.
the ruling is that this is what the sage advice says is nothing in the description of the polymorph spell indicates that it counters any conditions, nor does it specifically mention removing exhaustion levels. A character who is polymorph while prone, frightened, paralyzed, thus keeps those conditions, and likewise would keep any levels of exhaustion they had before they were polymorphed.
Okay.
But that said, Fox suggesting freedom of movement, that would remove the speed penalty. So because he would be able to walk on top of the snow instead of trudging through. So
Okay, you want to be a mammoth?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Then you polymorph the mammoth. I would say that all of you then are just going to kind of do the same thing you did in the previous round, except this time Norok isn't trudging. Is that right?
Yeah, and I'm going to pogo and burrow into the mammoth wolf.
Okay. Okay. And Pogo, are you riding on Pietro, or are you going to go into the mammoth as well?
I'm going to go on the mammoth, and I'm going to give Pietro some new instructions. And that is, if Pietro sees like a creature flying towards us, to fly the opposite direction of where we're headed and try to take cover in a cave and try to maybe get its attention. But you know, you can outrun it, so you'll be fine, Pietro.
You're more
with
confident than he
Pietro.
is. Yeah, he doesn't feel as confident as you seem to be. But you kind of bundle up as best you can to.
You'll be fine, Pietro.
You kind of keeping as warm as best you can to kind of get as much travel as you can into night before it gets too dark. Night does come eventually. I'm going to say that specifically because of the situation here, Nazim would be the only one that would have to roll. Everybody else is bundled into the mammoth. Essentially at this point, so Nazim, like, there's room for you on the back of the mammoth too if you wanted to. Otherwise, if you're holding onto the side like you were last time, you're still getting pelted enough with it that you would be.
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Are you going to climb up on top then?
Finally, yeah, but reluctantly.
Okay. All right, then everybody has to bundle up pretty awkwardly, pretty uncomfortable. Arteme as a fox is probably the most dog-like, and therefore for some reason that doesn't seem, I guess because I cuddle my dogs, I don't know. Maybe that doesn't seem as uncomfortable, but everybody else has to be pretty well bundled up just to make room. But everybody on the into the fur as best you can, anyways, to kind of ablate the blasting snow. You managed to make it through. Then I would say that. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to say that nobody has to make a check for this specific roll. I don't want to remove this only because, like I told you guys previously, you guys are getting to the point where this is no longer natural cold, and therefore the mammoth will not be immune to this any further. So this will be kind of the last point at which you guys can use this to kind of make everybody immune. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Yeah.
I figure that's fair. You guys have used it quite a bit, and it's totally fine. You can still continue to use it. You just won't have immunity. It'll just be like a regular roll or maybe advantage, depending on the specifics.
Yeah.
But you continue on your way. Evening is coming. It is time that you'll need to set up camp because the night will just be too cold. So what are you guys doing?
Can we see a sheer cliff that maybe we could ride down all the way?
No such luck.
The direction we're trying.
Yeah, no such luck yet. Norok has told you though that probably early in the morning you should be, depending on if you guys set camp here, let's say that a couple hours march in the morning, you should be at the kind of peak of this slope, and then you'll be down slope from then on until you hit the road. So you're not far from. There's a big ice canyon essentially, and once you're to the other side of the canyon, you hit the road.
All right. What's it been? 3 more days? How many? This is a big road.
Ben, for Norok can tell you guys that if you were to go straight to the peak, you still have probably 2 more days at this pace. If you don't get stuck in another blizzard or something like that. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. If we're making a treehouse, I'm going to move. Mix it up a little bit. Instead of moving 2 huge things, I'll move 4 large trees around us.
Okay.
And I'll set up an alarm.
All right. Cool. And you guys go through the standard procedure then of kind of giving yourselves as safe of an encampment as you can. Arteme, you're making a tree, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where did my notes go here? All right. Shit, where did my notes go? Uh-oh. What?
This is where we'll pick up.
No, I've got it here somewhere. I put it. It was supposed to be in the sidebar, but did I do it on the other page? Yeah, I must have done it back here. No, fucking hey, where is this? I need this part. There it is. Yeah, I found it. Cool. All right. Then I think we should go ahead. I'm going to try to get this through, so we'll make this somewhat quick, guys. Unless you guys have specific things that you needed to do. Anything specific you guys will be doing as far as camping for the night?
Nope.
Nope.
No, other than feeding the our little friend and having it near the broom.
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
I'm gonna be good too.
All right.
Sarah will cuddle the broom just to try to make it feel better.
All right.
And she
It's no longer.
slowly,
Go ahead.
she's slowly getting used to the tiny little mimic eggs. She's
Okay.
not as adverse to them as she used to be.
The broom doesn't seem scared anymore, or doesn't seem rather shivering anymore, but it still seems pretty shaken up by the, it seems scared a little bit, by the blast. Getting forcibly moved is not normal for it. But I guess who would be keeping watch around midnight? Who would be the third person keeping watch?
Maybe me again, because that's what we did last night, I think.
Okay. All right.
I'd probably
Then if you're
Probably do the same kind of thing.
I'd rather sleep in a little bit and stay up a little later.
sure.
Yeah, I'll just take the middle watches.
Just bothering Arteme.
All right. Then Norok, in the middle of the night, you can't see anything because, similar to the night before, of course, the roof of the dome is covered in snow, and the kind of blizzarding wind is too loud to really hear much of anything until the cacophonous beat of heavy wings, this constant woomph, woomph, woomph sound of something very large flying overhead, passes above, not directly, but above into the north a little ways, like basically near the road. It seems like heading eastward. And not long after, you can still just barely make out the wings. You hear the unmistakable sound of a dragon scream. And then a couple minutes after that, you see by the way, that scream wakes everybody up. So all of you are awake at this point. And all of you, the kind of snow that's surrounding the dome here is rapidly illuminated over and over and over again, like explosions, kind of like the explosions that went off in the Arroyo there, of these unmissable blooms of this chilling blue glow that is behind this impenetrable snow, surrounding your dome here. So that the sky has to be just lighting up for miles around with this like massive blue bomb-like explosions going off in the distance, somewhere far to the east. Yeah, all of you are awake at this point. You guys were awoken by the scream, anyways. Just one after another, there's these constant kind of bombs going off in the distance. You're not hearing anything. You're just seeing these like eruptions of blue light that blow up and then dissipate, and then another, all coming from the east on the eastern side of the dome.
A few fireworks show.
Kind of is what it looks like. Again, you're not hearing anything. You're just seeing these.
They call these the northern fights.
These kind of chilling blue glow lights, and then a few minutes of they stop, and then a few minutes later, the unmistakable beat of those same massive wings, that whoomph, whoomph, whoomph of them passing overhead again, heading westward. As Shok kind of awkwardly, starting to move over to one elbow and sits up and opening that one good eye again, he looks kind of somewhat panicked towards Norok, and he says, "Meadow Lake. When I left for the fray, that's Erie was leading our people to seek shelter there."
Shit.
Wait, that's where your people are, where those explosions are?
Sounded like the direction it came from.
I mean, does anyone recognize what those explosions even are? Like, do they look familiar?
Dragon, I'm
The
assuming?
dragon. The dragon's making explosions where he sent people?
Well, the dragon probably left those ice crystals that blew us all the shit.
Shok is getting up and awkwardly having to step around and over people without stepping on to Pogo and on to Arteme as he starts to try to gather his things and starts to climb down the tree.
Is that the same direction or is that a different direction?
Wait, where is Shok going?
Probably to the people.
He kind of grabbing what he's got it, his things are in his arms, and he can't he kind of lifts an arm up awkwardly to push on his throat so that he can speak, and he says, "I have to. They're all that we have left."
How far away is that?
He holds it again. Half a day, if we run.
Is it the direction we're already going? I'm very bad at
awkwardly
directions.
shakes his head, and you see the head come loose a little bit when he shakes his head.
Right,
So yes?
that
Shakes his head no.
Okay.
It's basically, if you guys could run.
That's right. The other way is called a nod.
If you could get there fast enough, you guys are almost to the road. Essentially, you have 2 to 3 hours of getting through a canyon, and then the road, and then the town. The road goes down like at a decent slope, and leads straight into the town.
So it would be taking at least a full day off of our time, if not longer.
Well, I mean,
And
it's not
do we have
really.
time to do that though?
Yeah, when do we have to get your friend in the ground or buried or lit on fire or sent into space or whatever we have to do?
Well,
You still
Do we
have plenty
have
of time
more?
before fall
Do we
crash.
have a few days?
yeah, we should be able to make it. And
Oh, let's
saving.
fucking go. We might be
Yeah.
tired, but
We're all
maybe
going to
we
be
can.
extremely
We
exhausted.
can't defeat a dragon, but we can probably help people if they're hurt.
Yeah, well, it seems like the dragon
Dragon
already
already
left.
Yeah.
So I
It
guess
flew back.
oh,
Yeah, it flew back to the west.
We need to go. We need to go check on it. It's your people.
How
We
many
can't just
people
leave 'em
are
be.
we?
What, Fox?
How many people are we?
6. Just 6,
With
right?
that with joke. Yeah,
I think it's all of you plus Shoke, so I think it's only 6. Yeah, it's 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one ever thinks about Pietro.
He's not people.
Yeah,
Think
he's
he's people.
Pietro's not
taking count
people.
right now. Okay.
He was the mayor of his own town. These people.
Yeah, almost. He was almost the mayor.
Okay,
but-
there we go. That will help us for a little while.
And you can upcast that, right?
I upcast that to level 6, which gets all of us.
All right, and also, well, you don't need to give it to really all of us.
Well, I mean, Shoke and Norok are
Unless
both at reduced. So, I mean, if you guys are booking it as fast as you can,
Well, I'm
gonna
gonna ride Pietro,
okay.
but you can give it to Pietro if you want.
Sure. Instead
Or-
of you.
For the sake of time, guys, I'm going to have you guys each roll another save as you try to run through the night, and you didn't finish a long rest. So if you're
No
going to do that,
rest.
is everyone going to go? Everyone going to run?
Yeah, we're doing it. I don't care how tired we are. We're gonna go protect people.
All
Did that
so
make it?
It's a 28. It's literally a 28
Did I get it?
shit.
with no exhaust or with a level of. You guys technically don't have the exhaustion yet. You'll have it in the morning. The non-rest exhaustion.
I got a 5.
I don't expect anybody's going to succeed unless it's a natural 20. So
Even
Oh,
with
wait,
that.
I normally have to take the first or the last watch. And since I think Pogo said he was taking the first watch and he was no longer
That's true.
drunk.
yeah, and
I
you took the
would
first
have-
last time. Yeah, or you took the last
Yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
I would have taken the last one. So theoretically, I would have already tranced because it's the middle of the night, right?
Yep. So you would have
Okay.
had So you actually
I would not have.
You'd be back down to 1. Sarah, you're at 2. Norok, you're at 3. Pogo, you're at 2. Nazim, you're at 2. Shoke is back at 2.
So I'd be the only one that has a long rest.
Yeah, Artemis is going to be the only one that has a rest here, which we'll see what happens here. But what's that?
There isn't an effects thing for exhaustion too, just exhaustion.
Yeah, it got broken with one of the last updates, so I just removed them. I'll put them back in there once I put it back in, so that you guys won't have to manually roll, the minus D1 and minus D6 and so on. But for now, for the sake of time, coming down the slope, even at this distance, you can see something is very wrong. You guys are rushing as fast as you can with long strider, with
riding
freedom of movement.
Pietro.
Yeah, and Pogo up on Pietro. Even on brooms, you guys are just kind of just doing everything you can to move as fast as you can. Whatever that means. If that means extra spells, don't worry about it for now. Just because I wanted to try to get the where's my VA?
Yeah, I probably would have polymorphed into something that could move faster than my 30 feet.
Okay.
So, at some
All
point,
right.
we'll
And I
figure out
probably
that
would have
first.
cast invisibility on me and Pietro.
Then in that case, you guys make it to the road. Now that you've finally seen this road, you can see that it actually goes almost smoothly back up. Although with the blizzard, it still will be a challenge. But once you do turn around and go back the other direction, assuming that you do, it doesn't look like it'll be that bad. As the trouble was just getting to the road in the first place, going the kind of roundabout way that you guys had to. But running down this slope or flying, whatever means you're doing, you can see that something is clearly wrong. No windows are lit by hearths. There's no chimneys that are billowing smoke or anything. The town looks cold, almost abandoned even. But as you get closer, you can begin to see the devastation there. The walls are blasted through. There's roofs that are collapsed in, and interspersed throughout this place, like occasional little ants, you see people that are frozen in place and unmoving. They're standing perfectly still here and there, as if they're just frozen in place while trying to flee in various directions there. As you make your way, and it takes you another hour or so to get there. So at this point, by the way, it's been probably 6 or 7 hours since the dragon left. So just to give you guys a time frame, that it is early morning at this point. The sun's beginning to rise in the east. I have another VA as you guys get closer here. There we go. of the, as you actually make it into the beginnings of the town here, many buildings are encased in solid ice. There's people that you can see through windows that are kind of frozen in place or half frozen in place. You see a couple of where the from the knee down is frozen solid to the ground, and the body is laying a few inches away where it's clearly bled out from the legs snapping off where they were still moving and only the legs were hit. It is a terrible situation here. It was a decent sized little kind of sleepy mountain town. You don't see any Yogg. All of these bodies are humans with the occasional dwarf, occasional elf. You don't see any Yogg bodies here. But as Shok tells you, he can't really speak. He's been running too much, and his throat is kind of torn in half, essentially, at this point. But as he has told you previously, there's only about a dozen or so of the Antaros tribe left anyway, but you don't see any of those bodies so far. But, Ben, the nearby... you can across the town center and down at an old road amidst this kind of icy ruin that you see here is this small county doctor's office. This place that's haunted your dreams and for many years now. It doesn't appear to be frozen.
Is that where we're going to end, or are we going to start doing stuff now?
It is, or it's not frozen.
You can see from the outside that the structure is clearly damaged, but it's not encased in ice. It's just a thick layer of frost. The roof looks like it's probably broken into place. Windows are broken. The faded frilly curtains are kind of torn and ruined. The front door is closed, but you can still see through the little broken squares and everything.
All right, I'm going that way.
Okay, Norik's heading. Pardon me. Norik is walking towards this building amidst the devastation. You guys don't see anything moving. It's just frozen solid. Even the wind down here seems to be kind of mostly abated.
I'm going to go and do my best to do a medicine check on the closest person to see if they're still alive, encased in the ice in any way.
Okay, go ahead and give me a medicine check.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And with what do I have? With two exhaustions, it's minus a D8.
Yeah, it's minus a D6 for 2.
Minus a D6.
Yeah.
Can I use
Oof, it's not gonna
Firebolt
do
to
it.
try to melt the ice of somebody who's been frozen?
Both Pogo, you can try, but the impact may do damage as well. You may have better ways of creating fire, but a fire bolt will cause a small impact, which could, if they were alive inside, could damage
I'm
them.
gonna use produce flame and gently put it on it.
Okay.
I'm also going to tell them, like, if we're using some fire, we need to just use it on one person and keep it small. We need to see if this works. Otherwise, we might attract that thing back, whatever did this, if it was the dragon. We need to try to see if this works in the first place, then we can help other people. I'm just not sure it will.
Nazim, how about you? What are you doing?
I'm going to take a moment to investigate and kind of see how this spread. In other words, figure if it was an ice type of explosion, or if it was a fire breath, ice breath, or if it's just coming up out of the ground. So that way it can kind of have an idea in case this happens again. So we have a few moments to think about what we're
Good
gonna do.
answer. Good answer.
So Nazim, give me a nature check with
Nature?
advantage. Yeah.
Would Dragon's Breath work? Since it's not like an impact, it's more of like an area.
It may still hurt. Like it really. Go ahead and give me a medicine check, Sarah.
So
Pogo and Arteme, those medicine checks, you're
I have
not
no idea.
sure. Yeah, you're not sure if they're alive in there or not.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna use produce flame and put it next to somebody to see if I can melt them a bit, because unless I throw it, it's not an attack. It's just a flame.
Yeah,
that I can
no,
hold.
produce
that's a
flame
good
would
one.
be the right answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you could melt it away like it's a lighter, essentially. Sarah, you're also not sure. Whether Dragon's Breath would work or not. Arteme, you very carefully burning it away as best you can. You do see flesh beneath it, but you're not seeing it move at all yet. It's going to take you some time to melt some space there. Nazim, the reason I had you roll the nature check there was to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Distill down the nature of how a dragon's breath at a distance like this would illuminate the sky. Remember, you've got just like dark gray rather, cloud cover all the way around, and a huge illumination, especially when you're inside the dome and it being diffused through snow, would illuminate the entire sky off to the distance. It was probably the dragon's breath that froze everything here, not anything else. But inside the dome, through the through the layers of snow that were surrounding you, it illuminating off of the clouds and illuminating for miles around at the just the bright blue beams of ice that the dragon was breathing. That's likely what you were seeing, and these are probably the results of the dragon's breath.
On the also, I'm just watching as Arteme is trying to defrost some of the IQF people, and if I see anything that could be unconscious or perhaps dying, I am going to use healing word on that person, and if that seems to do anything, I will then for anyone else that we're trying to save, I'll be using my cantrip spare the dying on each person that we can. Just as heads up going forward. That's what I'm focused on.
You and Arteme are both kind of beginning to melt the ice away as best you can until you get down towards flesh. Shok comes up near you, and seeing that the one that you're trying to melt is in a running pose, and as soon as the ice begins to melt and slough away, if it's alive, it would fall and it would snap the ankle. It would break in half, which is what you've seen a few of them, where the legs are, part of the leg is still sticking up out of the ice, and the rest of the body is laying in further away. So what he does is he kind of moves up behind it and kind of supports the body a little bit, so that as you're starting to melt it, if it does start to fall, he'll be kind of holding it. So right now he's just holding a giant ice crystal, but potentially if you can melt enough of this away, maybe he can save the life. Between the three of you, anyways, can save a life. But we're going to jump over to Norok real quick because he's separated from the rest of the group here.
I was going to say, if I don't have anything that'll work on melting these guys, I'm actually following Norok because I don't think any of us should be alone.
Okay. All right.
It's me, Shok, and Arteme trying to see if we can even bring one person back to life, and then we'll figure out what we do with the rest of the people if we can.
Okay. Nazim then floating nearby, you guys kind of doing his best to investigate the individuals to kind of decipher specifically what occurred. And
they're individually quick frozen for freshness.
Pretty much flash frozen, everybody all at once. So Ben, we're going to go ahead and jump over here. Sarah, I'm going to say that you're still nearby, but he did get far enough away from you that he's got a minute to react, or depending on what he's going to do here. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's good. Because I thought about using the dragon's breath and stuff first.
Sure.
But if they're just going to cause damage, I'm not even going to try.
Okay. All right. Shit, that fog's going to be so thick you're not even able to see anything. That's funny. But Ben, hang on, I got to fix the other track there, don't I? Yes, I do. Here we go. All right. You stepping. Oh, sorry, that's a little bit loud there too. Stepping inside the this waiting room that now you can't see for shit, of course, because of the kind of blaring wind and snow coming in from the outside. It looks about as you've seen it in half of those dreams. The abandoned and exposed and broken, weathered version of this waiting room. The roof is sagging under the weight of snow and ice, making it even harder for you to stand up straight. The large bay window on the left wall is smashed open, and the wooden bar counter is just covered in this layer of blown-in snow. The Albashar Sorsha isn't standing behind the counter, though. She's not there to back into the cabinets and rattle the bottles. This kind of typical interaction that you've had over and over again in these dreams, but the constant explosive bursts of the wind just buttering against the outside of the wall there is kind of rattling the cabinet, and that same tincture bottles rattling is kind of sending off that constant tinkling of glass that you're used to hearing. You hear that same kind of familiar sound there. The strangeness of this moment kind of overtakes you, though, and in your mind for a moment you replay that memory that you've repeated of the same repeated dream over and over again. The anger rising as you stand there awkwardly in this human-sized waiting room. The memory of Sorsha there standing behind the counter, and her voice trembling as she stammers that he's been expecting you, and then your fists clench involuntarily. Sorsha shrinks away from you. You see this memory of her eyes welling up as she kind of backs into the cabinet and jingles the medicine bottles there, and her eyes kind of dart towards the white door, the one that leads into the doctor's operating room, and she stammers again, "He knew you'd come eventually." And this kind of fog, this memory fog kind of fades away, and there you're standing, this time for real, in this too small room with your fists still clenching in rage from this ghost of a memory. What are you doing?
I'm going to go in the other room, the delivery room.
Okay. You approach the door The door is kind of half stuck from where the roof is beginning to sink in, but you kind of pull it wide anyway, and the screech of this wood on wood from the pressure of the frame not being able to hold it in place anymore, the door handle kind of smashes and splinters away, and you end up just holding the door handle, the doorknob. But you kind of grab the rest of the door with your palm and just push the door the rest of the way open. And when you stood in this doorway last, you saw him there, the doctor, cowering behind the operating table, while your rage burned like this furnace here. This man that was supposed to save Cassandra, the man that was supposed to save your child, is not there. The room is empty, except instead, huddled there behind the table, is a boy of maybe 9 or 10 years old, and he's shivering uncontrollably, and he turns his head towards you, and he kind of begins to stand up awkwardly. Like, stands really awkwardly, and he kind of puts a hand still shivering onto the table, trying to kind of hold himself up. But he looks up at you with this plain, expressionless face, and there, for the first time in a decade, you see her eyes staring back at you.
All right.
Damn! Can we just end it right there? End it right there!
And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Good deal.
I had to
and
mute
also-
myself because I was like, oh my god!
And everybody is leveling up to 12 too, by the way.
Oh, yay!
So the last time it had been, so I don't know if you guys remember this, but because, especially with the break there for a little while in the middle, it was 10 sessions between the last one. It wasn't intended to be, but some stuff, well, specifically Pogo dying, made things just take a little longer last time. It was supposed to be 8.
Sorry about that, guys.
Technically, that's my fault.
But so it took longer last time, so this one's a little bit short. This was only 6 sessions between, just to kind of get us back on track. So everybody will be level 12 before next week.
Sweet.
Let's see. So yeah, go ahead and check your thing. Most of you guys, I think, get either ASIs or feats. So look over, whatever you want to do with those, and then we'll do the level ups at the beginning of next week. Everybody good for the 14th?
I am like 90% sure I'm good for next Saturday.
Yep,
Okay.
looking good.
I'll let you know if there's something I'm forgetting, but I think I'm fine for next week.
Okay.
All right,
Soccer,
guys.
you said you're good?
I'm gonna go,
right.
but it was a pleasure. I had a great time, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Night, Justin.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Soccer.